I'm being a smartass. No,
Yeah, well, dude, I was up earlier and then I fell back asleep till about fucking quarter after two.
oh, dude, I just almost slept through this. Are you kidding me? I got.
Up earlier and then I fell back asleep till about fucking quarter after two.
Oh,
So I'm
dude,
probably still half asleep. So
yeah, yeah. I was watching YouTube videos and there was this dude who does camping videos, but for some reason this is just the most boring fucking video I've ever seen, and I don't know why.
mm.
He does stealth camping where he goes and camps where he's not supposed to,
All right.
like hidden camping in like behind a traffic sign on a freeway or some shit, like weird fucking places. And this one was just in a mine, and I'm like, that's not even interesting. You're just fucking in a hole in the ground. Like, nobody even
Yeah,
cares.
it's
It's
really
open
weird.
to the public. There's
Yeah.
graffiti on the walls. It's like It was just fucking boring. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm
It's
sure
like
homie
kind of
enjoyed his
thing.
experience, but it was just fucking boring to watch.
Yeah, not really interesting
Yeah.
to the general public. Like, oh, so you were someplace overnight where nobody was going to be really probably overnight. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. And then I'm also in the process of just fucking throwing away everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when you get to a point where you're like, I've got so much stuff that I'm just getting rid of it all.
Oh,
Because it's
gotcha.
just like I
I've got
don't
another room
even
and
do
shit.
anything with like 90% of it. It just sits on a shelf somewhere in my room.
Mm.
And so it's like, but you got to spend that time, discerning, okay, I do want to keep the big package of straws because I live in California and there's these stupid places that still use paper straws because they want to be green.
All
So
right.
I have a big pack of plastic straws that I can just use, or if you just forget, or if like you go through the drive-through and they just don't throw one in your bag or whatever,
Yeah.
like just you always got drinking straws. But like those kind of things, like where you're gonna keep the drinking straws, because eventually I'll fucking use all 100 to 200 or whatever of them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll just take a while. Versus like I haven't read a book in quite a while, and I got just fucking 4 or 5 shelf-fulls of books. So I'd rather, box those up and take them to like a Goodwill or a, Salvation Army store, and they can sell them to people that might actually read them.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sit down
Yeah.
and read with the tinnitus, but every once in a while I get an itch and I read for a while. And I think next time I'm just going to make sure it's all digital downloads so that they just fit on like one little fucking hard drive somewhere, so I don't have to like take up shelves and shelves of books.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to read a lot, but yeah, I haven't in quite a while. Now that I think about it. Yeah. Although I came across I had a Gru versus Conan comic that I'd bought that I've never read.
The Who to Who versus Conan?
Yeah. Oh, Gru, you're not familiar with Gru, the comic?
Gru. I don't know
Like
who
the
Gru is, no.
yeah, yeah. It was under Gru the Wanderer. It's basically it's a spoof of Conan. It's a dude that goes around tries to help people, but he's exceptionally stupid. So
Oh,
fucking
okay. So it's
he
sort of
always
like
fucks
a
shit up.
which barbarian thing is funner kind of thing.
Mm, yeah, but it's deliberately it's meant to be humorous. You know what I mean? Like it's funny. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
they call them all comic books, but none of them are. A vast majority of them are not comics. You know what I mean?
Well, and you're not trying to be too super serial anyway, right? You're just having a good time, so who fucking cares, right? I mean,
But yeah, it's yeah. I don't know why I thought you would be. I mean, it's fairly well known, but it's not super mainstream. It's a guy, Sergio Aragonis. He's done art for like Mad Magazine since like the '60s.
okay, so good art. That's always good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's an interesting dude. He's actually a really outgoing, like social guy, which is pretty rare for artists.
That is very true.
But yeah,
That
no,
is,
it's fucking,
yeah.
it's funny, dude. Because he's just a dude. He's a great fucking swordsman or whatever. He has dual katanas for some reason, which is a little strange. But yeah, he must go around to different villages, whatever, and fucking try to help people out with their problems, and then shit gets all fucked up because he's a moron.
Yeah.
I just walked in. I only heard a few phrases like he's an artist who oddly enough wields two katanas and fixes people's problems. What kind of fucking what are you talking about?
Some
It
dude
sounds
from the
like
Are you
60s,
familiar?
baby.
no.
Yeah,
Hold on,
do
hold
you,
on. Like, it sounds like the most convoluted anime thing of all time. It's like I am an artistic therapist who will help you with your problems with my dual wield katanas. Like
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about the artist, but then I was talking about the character.
I,
So
you
that's
know,
probably why it's a little confusing.
I
Yeah,
almost want to see the guy with dual wielding katanas being a therapist fixing
do
people's
you
problems.
do you know who Sergio Aragonis is?
Never heard of him.
Really? Okay, he's a dude that did he's done art for Mad Magazine since like the '60s.
Oh,
He had come up
maybe I
with
have heard
the
of him then.
okay, yeah, he's Gru the Wanderer. Have you heard of that comic?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I know what
Okay,
you're talking about now. The guy with the
okay,
funny
yeah,
mustache.
yes, dude, yes, exactly.
Sorry, when it comes to foreign names, I have a hard time remembering them. Also, because they
Yeah.
sound so similar to like European artists from back in the day.
Hmm. All right, yeah, but it's one of my favorite comic books. It's really fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I don't pay much attention to art, to be honest with you, but everybody seems to enjoy that guy's art.
There was,
Um,
and it's so simple and easy enough to get into. So yeah.
But yeah, that is one of the nice things. Each one's its own self-contained thing, but it's basically again, he's a barbarian that's really stupid. It's a spoof of Conan. So again, he goes around, wanders around, and fucks shit up in the most well-meaning of ways.
Mm-hmm. Frankly, I'm surprised no one ever tried to adapt it into like a cartoon show or a series of movies. I mean, maybe they should.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, no, you could do it obviously as the animated one. It's not like Conan where you could do a fucking movie or anything live action, but
I mean, they could do a live action, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as good.
yeah, it just wouldn't work. But no, I was telling him because I had just come across. I had a comic that I had bought. I don't know where the fuck I bought it at, but it was Gru versus Conan, and I was like, I've never fucking read this. So I was like, all right, I got to read that because I haven't read anything in a long fucking time.
It's a shame because it was last Saturday that was Free Comic Book Day. Let's go to your local comic shop and get a whole whack of free comics.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. I've been to a
Yeah,
comic shop forever either.
well, people sort of forgot that comics exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they've been so shitty for so many years now.
Mm-hmm. You know what surprised me? So I haven't been to a comic shop in a while, and I was looking at their new releases that they had there, and this bothers me. They're reprinting old Marvel comics that are like relatively popular, but they're charging modern day prices for them. And what was so surprising? Yeah, what was so surprising is they were trying to help people get into comics, so they were reprinting old comics for like $1. Like you can get this old comic of Guardians of the Galaxy Annihilation for like $1, and it's just the first issue, so that way you get into it. If you want to read more, you can get like a trade paperback or something. And I thought that's actually a pretty good deal. I actually, I stop in, I get a couple. I might get a couple extra because at the time I had like a neighbor with kids, and I just gave them some comics. Like, yeah, here you go, get you into comic books. But now they're just doing it, and they're charging full price. They're charging $5 for a reprint. And the funny thing is, I can pay $5 to get an original comic. I just go to the trade paperback section, or like the old comics from back in the day. You can still get old comics for like $5. A lot of people think, oh yeah, they're collector's items. Not really. Marvel back in the day, they mass print things. They know it's going to be popular. They get it on every they have comic racks. They put it in like what do they call them, drugstores and stuff. They're at the checkout till when you're heading out to pay for your goods. They're always $1, so they're cheap. So they mass printed a lot. So
Yeah, there's been a couple periods of time where it was pretty dark, just because, not necessarily because the writing or anything was bad, but that's what it is nowadays, I think. But
Yeah. There was a lot of really bad writing way back, but there's really worse writing now, which is ironic. Because you would think, like, with time, writing would improve. But it actually hasn't.
Well, sort of. I mean, how long can you write on something? I mean, most writers only write something for, maybe a couple years or something, and then someone's got to take up the slack and continue from where they left off. That's kind of the problem, because it's like, in order to write a modern comic, you had to have known almost everything that came before. And sometimes it's like you have to do a massive amount of homework before you can write one comic. And then at that point, it's kind of like gatekeeping. You had to have actually read a whole whack of comics if you want a job. So, I mean, it's pros and cons, I guess. Not to mention, then they thought, well, we'll make it less complicated. We'll just reboot. But when you reboot, you're doing the exact same problem. It's like, yeah, we're starting from scratch, but eventually you have to do all your homework again. It only saves you for a little bit. So, yeah.
I posted one cover of one of the Grew comics, and then the action figures, which I absolutely own, that I bought.
Oh, you got all these?
Yeah. It's like a 7-piece set that I had ordered fucking 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, hold on.
I used to use them when I worked at Liberty Mutual. We would have like they'd give us a bunch of little tiny figures or whatever to, like, you'd put one out when you got a sale, put another one out when you got another sale, and so on. And I actually used these as my indicator of how many sales I had during the day. Probably should have just left them in the box, like a collector would do, but I don't know. I love them. I love the characters, so.
I wouldn't worry too terribly about that. When was this? It was like back in the 90s or so when you got those?
No, it was more recent than that. It was probably, I'm trying to think. Let's see. I'm going to say around 2009, 2010, somewhere in that area.
Okay, not too long ago. Yeah, because sometimes, like, you think leaving things in packages is pretty good. Sometimes the packages, like the plastic that they use to keep them all in nice condition, might be, like, leaning too hard on them. It might warp them over time, depending on if you keep them a nice, cool thing. Sometimes keeping them in packaging can do damage. It depends on the packaging, but you never really know. It depends on where they got it done.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then probably end up leaving them somewhere they get melted or something.
Yeah.
Living in the desert wasteland here.
You're like, it's in a protective case. Luckily, the protective case isn't heat-proof, so it just melted everything together. That might be a problem, but...
Yeah, but yeah, the one nice thing about the Grew comics is they're not super valuable. Like, they're popular, but as far as, like, resale, like, they're not like fucking X-Men or fucking, any of the shit where they get up into the thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy to get a lot of them.
A lot of it also depends on like how well people know the property. Like X-Men's a fairly popular brand, so of course, some of those will be really good. Grew, barely anyone knows it. Now, granted, if they came out with a movie, like I guarantee you, with Super Mario Brothers being as popular as it is, you can resell old versions of the game, and the value of them will go up. I wouldn't be surprised if
stands to reason.
Yeah, so like if they ever do make a movie, those will go up in value, absolutely. And if it's a popular movie, it goes up in value.
Yeah.
So, like,
but yeah, no, it's fairly popular. Like, it's definitely not. I wouldn't.
It's not Conan level popular, but it was popular.
Yeah, it's up there, but it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not something that, like, probably just one tier below mainstream, I guess, as far as popularity.
Yeah. Similar to that Usagi Yojimbo, that one with that rabbit samurai that goes around and does jobs. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
Stan Sakai.
Yeah. See that one.
Yeah, yeah, dude. You know what's really funny about that? Stan Sakai does the lettering for Groot.
See, I believe it. So like
Yeah,
that one's also like it's popular. It has a little bit more mainstream appeal because it's like it's always been connected to the Ninja Turtles. Like Usagi Yojimbo, he's been in like the original Ninja Turtles. He's been in some of the newer shows. I think he was even in a couple episodes of the more modern day Ninja Turtles. So it's not. So that one has a little bit more stay power, but it that one also is kind of an unknown. Not many people know
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
They think it's part of the Ninja Turtles franchise. It's not. But I think like the only reason they keep bringing him back is just so keep the brand going. I guess.
Yeah,
But
and Stab, if you're unfamiliar, Usagi Yojimbo is basically an anthropomorphic samurai rabbit.
No, yeah, I'd never heard of that. I'd heard the
oh
name several
Yeah.
times. Like the name sounded very familiar. Did not know it's a
Yeah,
samurai
no, it's
rabbit.
a good one. I got a bunch. I got a decent amount of those.
I'd watch the
comics,
shit
too.
out of a cartoon movie about that, though.
Yeah, no, it's a good one, dude. I like it a lot too. It's like I said, not. I don't have
I
nearly as
believe-
many.
Is
of
it is
those
it like
as
an
I do of
actual
Groot.
anime or is it just a comic?
it's
Yeah, comic
an
book?
American.
How
Yeah,
does
it's like an American comic. Actually, it's not an anime.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
just
animated
it takes
film
place-
or show or something. I mean, it doesn't have to be
So-
like actual Japanimation.
Yeah, it's a comic. It's a comic book character who makes crossover appearances in Ninja Turtles every now and then. So because
Oh,
that-
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No,
so-
the comic's really good, dude. So if you ever come across them, if you ever get in a comic shop, Usagi Yojimbo is a really good comic too.
although I may be wrong about this, but I believe that there actually is a cartoon show of him on Netflix, but it's like not very popular. Not many people know it exists because it's like they never advertise it. Same thing with like there's another obscure comic that I actually enjoy. It's called Gong, and essentially what it is, it's a baby T-Rex dinosaur. It's from like a Japanese manga, but it's fairly popular. It's easy to get into because there's no words. Essentially, it's about a T-Rex egg, which gets like just sort of comes out of the ground because of an earthquake or something, and it hatches in modern day Africa. And because he's the only dinosaur around, because it's modern day Africa, he's trying to find his parents, and because he doesn't realize he doesn't have any parents, because he's the only one of his kind, so he just goes around and he keeps thinking, "Oh, I guess I'm a gazelle," and then something happens. He realizes, "Okay, I guess I'm not a gazelle," or maybe I'm a tiger or something. "Oh, I guess I'm not a tiger," and inevitably the animals always pick a fight with him, and yeah, think like Dragon Ball from like when there was young Goku and he's going around on adventures, kind of like that.
Well, that
all the
sounds kind of
mystery.
fun.
It is, but because it's all animals,
If
there's
it's
no
not
word.
quite as much of the power build thing where it's like silly shit.
Like it's silly, but it's not like Dragon Ball silly. It's more like a dinosaur in modern day kind of silly, and it's kind of cartoony. It's got like a lot of silliness to it. It's all visuals, no words, so anyone can pick it up. You don't have to know Japanese to get it, and it's entertaining as hell. But Netflix made a CGI series of it, so Gong doesn't talk, but all the other animals do. Like they just don't get it. So I was quite upset with that.
Yeah, the no words thing. There's actually Aragonis like always wanted to like do his own stories and shit, but he never wanted to fucking do words because he's actually really good at expressing like a story without words, like just through the pictures and shit. And he kept getting pushback because he always wanted to do just the actual, it's telling it through visual without any word bubbles or whatever. Yeah, actually, I had a few comics of his called Action Speak, where it's just three comic books, where it's just a bunch of different stories with no words, no thought bubbles or whatever.
There was
I put some of that in there. I put a couple things of Usagi Yojimbo in the Discord. Put a picture that has the thumbnail of Aragonis with his giant mustache, and then a couple of the Gru things.
Mhm. Yeah, he has a very impressive mustache.
Fuck.
There was another Japanese manga that didn't have any words, and I actually have a copy of it. I actually didn't realize this. PewDiePie actually talked about it because Netflix made an adaptation, like a movie of it. It's called Blam,
Huh.
and yeah, well, essentially it's a manga, no words. And essentially it's like a dystopian, cyberpunk-ish kind of a world where a guy's just walking around and you don't really know what he's doing because doesn't talk. And every now and then, like cybernetic people come out and try to kill him, and he has to defeat them. But again, no words, no nothing. And you essentially, your imagination fills in the blanks. And that's how the book is supposed to work. Every now and then there might be a word or two if he feels that he needs to, but yeah, it's all visuals. But there again, like when they made the Netflix adaptation, they put in words. Everyone's talking. Like, okay, why?
You guys familiar with Eon Flux?
Yes, I fucking
Yes.
love it.
Oh, that was a great little cartoon.
Dude, yeah. I was wondering, would that qualify as anime?
Yeah. See, that's weird to say because anime itself is just.
It's definitely
Japanese.
anime style.
Well, the guy.
Yeah.
The guy Frank. No, it's not Frank Cho. I think it's. I cannot remember his name. I used to know it, but he is a Japanese Canadian, and so he animated that stuff. And what he would do is he would do stop motion. So he'd make a puppet, and then he would animate it in stop motion, and then draw over it with pencils and colors and stuff. So it's what's called rotoscoping. It's like when you film someone moving around and then you draw over top of them. That's called rotoscoping. And so he would rotoscope a stop motion character. So these are puppets that he would draw over. So that's why it's such a weird looking show.
Oh, gotcha.
And he still does that to this day. He did a segment in the Animatrix where he did all that. What was the other one? He did a show about a guy who's actually a dragon, but he looks like a human. I can't remember what it was. Wasn't very popular. But anyway, yeah, Aeon Flux was a fucking weird thing, and I love it.
Dude, yeah. Fuck, man. Yeah, I love that when it first came out on like MTV and shit. I was like, this is fucking, what the fuck is this? But
Well,
yeah, it was amazing.
And like what we were talking about earlier with no words. I mean, that first season of Aeon Flux, there was no words because the guy didn't think
I think they said there was a single word. I forget what it was, but yeah, she says like one word the entire time, and all the rest of it's just literally just action with no words.
And it didn't really make sense.
I was watching videos on this like literally last night. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh well, it a lot of times it didn't make sense because it's like at the end of each episode, the main character dies.
Yeah.
And the next episode,
into death.
Yeah, exactly. She fumbles her way into death, and then she dies, and then other shit happens, and then the next episode will happen, and then she's back like nothing happened. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But they didn't think that there would be like another season, so they thought, I'm just gonna have fun with it. And then MTV's like, oh yeah, we love it. Do another show and make them talk. And he's like, fuck. So if season 2 isn't as good as season 1, that's because all the scripted stuff was an afterthought.
Yeah, I was trying to find the fucking. There was one episode that was, well, they're all bizarre, but there was this one episode where this the Trevor guy walks into the room and there's like this dude sitting in the chair, and he's like all distorted and all staticky looking. I don't know. I didn't get exactly what the fuck they were doing, but like he sits in the other chair and then he gets in it, and then he's like in the same. It's supposed to be some kind of extra dimensional shit, I guess.
Yeah.
But like he gets in the chair and he's same thing's happening to him, but then it cuts to like where his point of view, where now they're both just sitting there instead of being all fucking distorted and shit. And he like goes and like opens up his chest and starts crawling into him and shit. It's fucking really weird, dude. And I can't find any video of it.
Was it a fat guy?
Yeah,
The fact that he
Clavius, I
tried-
think his name was.
Well, I think I know the one you're talking about, where essentially the mayor goes missing, and people want to know because they have questions and stuff like that. And he apparently something had happened, and so the mayor's stomach was an interdimensional dimension that he created a hole and it's good that he's a fat man because it creates enough space for him to walk inside or climb inside, and he climbed inside this dimension where he stores all this shit. It's like this is why you can't find the mayor, because he's essentially being drugged and all that stuff to just stay in one spot, so that way he has his own personal storage space, if you will. It was so
okay,
fucking.
I at least found a picture of it, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I might be misremembering since it's been a while. I actually, yeah, that's the shit. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then like the mayor's assistant finds him and it's like, sir, what's going on here? It's like, oh, thank God you woke me up from my whatever stomach. I gotta get back to work. It's like, yeah, but you have a fucking hole in your stomach. It's like, again, it's just the weird shit just keeps happening.
I mean, is the hole in the stomach that big a deal?
I mean, it's a fucking hole.
I mean, it's a quicker way to eat, right?
I mean, I guess.
You hate Brussels sprouts, but
they're
they're really good for you. You just jam them in the hole with your little mitt, and you're good to go.
Yeah, it's a pretty large stomach, though. It's an extra dimensional, portal.
Like I remember
It's a lot of Brussels sprouts.
One of the other weird episodes that I can recall is the thing in this world of Aeon Flux is that there is a bit of a classism issue. You have people in lower class and upper class, and they're literally like upper class can go into the lower class areas for business and whatever else, but people of lower class can't go into the upper class area. There's all these doors and stuff, but they have like security systems, and like a new one was put in there as a deterrent. So like if you put your arm or some other body part into there, wires shoot down, holds you, and then they inject you with something that will make you numb, and then they amputate your limb. So essentially, yeah, it's like you try to get over, they amputate you. So this episode starts off with this couple who are like really fit, acrobatic people, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to try and build up enough speed to just literally jump through before the wires can get turned on and get them in. And so they're going through this massive acrobatic stuff to make enough speed to jump that at just the right angle to get in there. And the guy gets through, but the woman doesn't. And because they have like an anti-killing thing, they can't. The amputee wouldn't actually cut off like your torso or something. So instead, what it did is it shot you through your back, which essentially disabled you. It removed like one of her backbones, and so that they said she has to work off her. She now has like all these medical issues, so now she has to work off her debt. So essentially, what they did is they put in this fake backbone, if you will, but it has to be like replaced every now and then. And there's like some drugs and stuff that keep her so she doesn't reject the implants or something. But when she takes that every now and then, she's like super flexible, so she's doing all this crazy shit. It's kind of gross. And the guy who invented it, Trevor, he'd come over every now and then because he actually feels bad because he's actually hired to build these systems. He doesn't want to, but he has to. So he personally comes over because he's a medical expert or whatever, and so he sort of helps her make sure she's transitioning okay. And so he does all these experiments on her back, and because it's the backbone with the nerves, he's got all these wires and he's got all these tools and stuff in there, and apparently it gives her a massive orgasm. She's just sort of weird, and then when we next see her, she's got like a cigarette. It's like that was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And Trevor's got his smoke is like, yeah, you think that's weird? You see how I live my life. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's fucking so bizarre, dude.
And like, I'm not even doing it, and I'm not even doing it justice. I mean, this show is so weird. And this was on MTV back in the 90s. But we also have to remember, like, that was back when they had things like The Max, which is like an awesome show. If you haven't seen The Max, go for it. I don't know if you guys ever heard of The Head.
Oh, that was a fucking wacky one.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that one. Yeah, where the fucking thing just lives in dude's head.
Yep.
And then there's the bad guy that does whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bizarre, too.
MTV did really weird shit. The only thing that really stuck around was like Beavis and Butthead. Everything else kind of got forgotten, even though it's remembered so fondly.
Oh yeah, but I finally found a little clip, at least, of what I was talking about with that whole staticky looking thing, and just posted
Oh, yeah.
it. Yeah, do you remember that? It was fucking weird, dude.
Oh, yeah. But guys, makes me want to go back and rewatch the show. It's all weird.
Fucking A, man.
But, I mean, there's enough of a cult classic that people want to see more. Like, there was that live-action movie back in, like, the early 2010s that was apparently terrible. I never saw it. But I'm like, yeah, this is weird. Or this isn't going to be good. But then MTV wanted to make, like, a live-action TV show, but it less focused on Aeon and more on social issues.
Oh, that's got to be interesting.
Well, not really, because we're talking modern day MTV. It's like modern day MTV with social issues. They're going to probably say like the lower classes are the blacks and stuff like that. Like, oh,
yeah, I don't want anything that was good in the past to be remade right now.
No. Well, and you know, it's weird that we're bringing that up because like we had, you guys know about Doomcock, right? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, he's like the guy, the Hollywood insider guy that knows all the things that are going on amidst the Hollywood thing.
Yeah. Well, apparently, from what I've heard, from what he's heard, is that the reason why a lot of the stuff from Disney nowadays is like terrible is because it's terrible on purpose. It seems like, because one of the insiders is saying that it's the influence from BlackRock because they're like the lead investor. And essentially, they're trying to destroy our myths and legends, which is like our modern day like Hollywood. Because our entertainment is like really good, like, you know, from Indiana Jones to Star Wars. And so what it sounds like what they're trying to do, because BlackRock is trying to destroy civilization, if you will. They're trying to destroy our myths and legends, which means that the reason why Star Wars and Indiana Jones, the reason why all this is terrible is because it's being done on purpose. They want it all to be terrible. They want it all to be awful. So that way, we have nothing in mythology to look forward to. Even though it's kind of like it's not really working because we still have all that to look back to. Like the classic Star Wars still exists. Classic Star Wars is still around, and that's also because the people are trying to, like, the BlackRock is fitting the bill for all this shit. They're paying for all this to be destroyed effectively. That's why they don't really want to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy, the bitch in charge of Star Wars, because she's doing exactly what they want, which means that she's doing a great job. Oh yeah, she's fucking it up.
Job of fucking it up.
Exactly, but that's the goal. And if this is true, then yeah. But BlackRock is also trying. Like, we know that BlackRock is doing this because they're like trying to destroy our neighborhoods, because they're literally buying up entire neighborhoods, tearing them down, and putting up cheap apartments and stuff to try and bring in low quality people, which will then lower the social cohesion of the neighborhood, increase crime, and all the other kind of stuff. So all this is done on purpose. And so these are the same people in Hollywood trying to get influence in that too. So I guess it makes sense that they want to try and destroy, because they're already trying to destroy the family. They're trying to destroy communities. And now they're trying to destroy mythology, and this has been going on for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a variation on the whole divide and conquer, divide and distract thing that they seem to be doing. They don't want anything that anybody can possibly rally behind and get together on.
Mm-hmm.
They want everybody fighting, and so they don't notice, how fucked up everything is and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. So, like, that's something else to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that because they're trying to divide us, they don't want us to talk to the other side. Like look at all those liberals and stuff. They don't really want to debate. They don't want to talk about it. Part of the reason why they don't want to is because they're also scared. I mean, if they're seen having conversations with people who have a different opinion, they might get like from their in-group people they think are their friends and all. They might turn on them. So a lot of times they're just scared. Sometimes they're reasonable people who do actually want to have conversations, but they can't stand the idea of losing their entire social group. So then they just sort of stay quiet and they go along. So like sometimes it's like we need to be open to the idea of forgiving a lot of these people because they kind of need it. But no, it's not always the easiest because a lot of us have had our lives destroyed because of it. Or about to be, who knows?
Oh, yeah. Have either of you guys seen the Ian Flux movie? I'm sorry, real quick.
No, I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, Stabby, have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen the movie.
It's Charlie.
I don't doubt for a second. Oh, the really crappy live action movie. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
it's not the worst live action movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not great, but it's not. I mean, people really hated it, and I'm like, it was okay.
Yeah, it was like just like an okay movie. It wasn't like terrible. It wasn't great. It was kind of like I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, could have went a lot better. Could have been a lot worse.
Yep.
Yeah. I do like that they did the catching the fly in the fucking eyelash thing. That was pretty a nice nod to the fucking
Well,
to the animated thing.
I think there's just some things you can't do in live action because that show, its whole appeal is how visually stunning it really is, and a lot of what they did in that show you can't do in live action unless you were to do heavy CGI, and I don't think they had the budget to do that.
Yeah, it would be difficult to have everybody's bodies look the way they look at that fucking show, all fucking thin and fucking
It's the same reason why I think Disney needs to stop making live action adaptations of their animated movies. They're animated for a reason, and if you were to adapt it, they have to be very heavy CGI, and I don't think that they can do that.
Yeah, I don't know who does their CGI lately, but it seems like it always sucks.
Well, that's partially because a lot of companies and production companies don't want to work for Disney anymore. They've had enough because of all the reshoots and stuff. Like part of the reason why a lot of these movies cost like $200-300 million is because they have to reshoot and redo things to the point where they're essentially filming 2 to 3 movies at the exact same time. Like The Little Mermaid, or like the Guardians of the Galaxy. It was like an almost $300 million movie, and that's partially because they reshot so many things that it's like they filmed 2 different movies at once. I mean, Sam Raimi, when he did Multiverse of Madness, he famously said, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to see how the movie turns out when it's done," because he filmed the movie was filmed multiple times with multiple different scenes, and he's not in the editing room. That's someone else doing that. So he has no idea how it was going to turn out.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, well, movies nowadays are, like the Disney ones in particular, are just insane. And the workload is so massive for a lot of these production companies because the way they see it is like, we have all this money, we're just going to throw money around and we'll hire multiple production companies working on the exact same project at the exact same time. And you could get a movie done pretty fast, but redoing it over and over and over and over again, it's expensive. It's too much. And that's exactly what's happening. A lot of these companies can't work for Disney anymore. So now they only have 2 or 3 companies that will work with them, like because Disney either owns them or whatever else. But they literally can't keep up with the demand. So that's why these movies look terrible. It's like you lost like 70% of your work, your digital effects people. So now that your pool of talent is gone, like what do? You can't really do much. Not to mention, I mean, they keep changing the scripts over and over and over again on the fly every single time, to the point where like they're lucky if they get a movie at all, and that's the way they've done everything for quite some time. So yeah, these movies are terrible, and they're going to be that way for a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As soon as this fucking woke madness finally passes, I don't want anything good to be attempted to be remade.
Yeah, well, it's not up to us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And like Disney, like so long as BlackRock is making sure that keeps them alive with all the money they keep pumping in, they have no reason to change. Now, granted, they did have to change somewhat because I think BlackRock is starting to run out of some of its money because it can't give out all this money. They're
Well, yeah.
doing
Well, I
too
mean,
much.
you can't make up for billions of dollars of sales like they, like Bud Light and shit like that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not working. Like
Yeah, that
like
doesn't
the
work. You can't do that on a regular basis and never face any consequences.
like you could do it if people were still buying like the product and seeing the movies and stuff. That would cover up half the cost, and the other half was done by BlackRock. Well, now that the customers have all left, essentially BlackRock's all that's left.
Uh,
They can't afford to pay up that much, so they're starting to tightening their belt and how much they invest in there. So they're getting just enough to stay afloat, but not enough to make money, which means that logically that they should start changing things up. But the problem is that the people that they're laying off are a lot of the creatives and the people who are responsible for all this nonsense. They're still there. So the people who are in charge of all the shit that's been going wrong, they're still there.
I've actually got a conspiracy theory about that. I'm wondering if BlackRock is deliberately making them do all this shit to devalue everything, and then they're going to buy all the shit up on the cheap, and then get back to making good shit with it.
oh, maybe. Who knows? That's a good question.
Well, that would give them an in, and that's definitely a possibility. I would hope not.
Yeah, no, I again have no proof. It's just a hey, maybe this is what's going on. Probably not, but
Well, what we're dealing with are people who have used capitalism to make a lot of money. Because actually, it's not as hard as you might think to make money. You just need a clear plan and just try your best to execute it. You could make money fairly easily, but they don't want that because it means it's like, oh yeah, too many people have too much power and all that. We want all the power.
yeah, I was watching. Fuck, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, they were pointing that out. Like all the people that are already, super rich or whatever, don't want anyone else to be in their club, and they want to kind of just, make it incredibly difficult for anyone else to become like an instant billionaire, millionaire, or whatever.
Yep.
So like it's actually like legislation is trying to fucking make it more difficult.
Yep.
That's all.
No, you're probably right. That's probably what they want to do. Oh man, I gotta make sure my tinfoil hat's nice and fastened.
Conspiracy theories are fun.
See, I've mentioned this guy to you guys before about the whole conspiracy theories and how I've been going down the rabbit hole because it's like as more and more conspiracy theories get proven true, it's like let's maybe we should give devil its due and just give them a look and see if what's going on is actually accurate or see if it's even plausible. So I've been listening to some, and some have absolutely convinced me, like the chemtrail thing. I looked into it, it's like it looks pretty legit. So that's kind of disturbing. But then other ones I have a hard time because it's still like I still can't get into, like the flat earthers. I love their confidence. Let me tell you, these people are super confident in their beliefs, but it's still stupid.
Yeah, no, they're fucking inadvertently entertaining, dude.
Yeah.
Like I can see why some people might be persuaded because they're so charismatic in the things that they say, and they're so confident when they say it. But I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's still bullshit. You're not actually giving any hard evidence. But I mean, it could also be like the flat earthers might just be like a code thing to just sort of say like, don't take vaccines or something like that, because that's the other thing that they talk about are like the vaccine conspiracies.
Yeah. No, I think I've mentioned on the show before, but no, I've literally been at the fucking beach. My dad would always have like these high-powered binoculars, and I had literally watched fucking ships sail over the fucking horizon. Like, I didn't really think the Earth wasn't flat, but I'm like, I'm here and I have these binoculars. I'm gonna fucking do this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that one's very odd that they fucking so wholeheartedly fucking believe that shit, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wildly entertaining though, like I said. They're
Well,
fucking
like
hilarious.
I'll listen to
Unintentionally.
I'll listen to some of the other theories, like Hollow Earth. That's not so much interesting. Although there was one thing I remember hearing back in the Soviet Union eras that was kind of terrifying. Not for like the like Hollow Earth or anything, but what it was is that they were trying to do an experiment to see how deep that they can go into the Earth. How deep can you go? How deep can they dig? And and of course things get kind of weird because apparently when you break up some of the materials of deep down into the earth, like molecules of various different types come out because once you start moving things around, you activate various
Yeah.
different molecules. Eventually, what they found is they actually were able to break away the different like hydrogens and oxygens and stuff in deep down materials to actually create water. So essentially, like you could dig deep down, and you can actually create water. I thought that's a fascinating concept, but
Interesting.
they kept going past all that, which was a interesting discovery. And what they did is they put down a series of things like cameras and and microphones, not cameras. There was like microphones to hear it, what goes on, and what they heard was actually kind of disturbing. It sounded like fucking screaming.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The audio recording where they're like, "Yep,
Yeah,
this is hell. They tunneled into hell." Yeah.
yeah, I know that, and that was the funny part. I listened to that. I'm that is terrifying. That's just like from what we can interpret, and that was before the microphone melted away because it was so fucking hot down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The tunnel to hell. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
there
And
was
when I look into conspiracy theories, I don't really, for the most part, worry about whether they're fucking true or not. I just
Are
go
they
off of the
entertaining?
entertainment
That's.
value. Yeah. Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
it. I was like, yeah, that's exactly how I would look at that shit. It's just like, yeah, is it fucking entertaining?
Yeah.
well, yeah. Well, it's entertaining, and then like you see that it's real. It's like, oh, this stopped being fun and started being scary. Like, oh god.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like listening to Alex Jones, like, oh yeah, this guy's just a crazy kook. This is kind of entertaining, and then he starts spouting truth, and it's like, oh no, oh no,
Yeah.
and then you start listening to the other shit. It's like, oh no, that's true as well. Oh no, I don't want it to be true.
You gotta be
Yeah, and
careful.
obviously a good chunk of it is fucking, crazy bullshit. But yeah, some of the shit that seems like crazy bullshit has been proven true.
hmm Now, one of the other ones I was listening to, which is also bothering me because it's like I don't want, but like when they were saying like they faked the moon landing. Okay, I think that's bullshit. But at the same time, I was listening to the arguments that they were making, and it's like, okay, some of that does bother me. One of which is that when you had the astronauts landing on the moon, and they did a liftoff because they were talking about how low the gravity is because the moon doesn't rotate. It stays in place, which is something I didn't realize it. But yeah, it doesn't. That's why gravity is so light on the moon. So when they would blast off from the moon, people were sort of wondering what happened to the camera. And the reason is because we've had like lunar rovers that would go on there and explore, and they go to where they landed on the moon. There's no camera, and that's the part that they were getting at. Because they put up a camera to watch them as they were blasting off. Okay, great. When the rover goes over there, you could see everything that was left. Like you could see like the American flag, which is now all white because of constantly being exposed to the sun, and so the all the colors just faded away. But then where's the camera? There's no camera set up, and that's the part that they pointed out. And I'm like, okay, you got me there. We clearly saw the camera was clearly set up to watch them launch off. There's no evidence of a camera on the site. So what happened to the camera? That part all right, you got me. I can't answer that one. So
Yeah, honestly, that's probably the wildest conspiracy theory. Well, not what you're talking about exactly, but the moon being artificially placed there. I actually lend some credence to that. Not saying I actually believe it, but it's very odd. There's a lot of very anomalous shit about the fucking moon. That lends credence to that.
Yeah, there's a lot about the moon that we don't know, like the dark
Yeah,
side.
well, no, it's just the size
The
relative
dark
to the
side
planet
of the
is pretty
moon.
unique. It's exactly
layer of
far enough
ultimate
away
power.
to perfectly. It's exactly far enough away to perfectly block the sun. That kind of shit. It seems to be less dense than it should be. Like, there's a lot of
Usually
weird
true
shit.
about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that Stabby's an alien and he has to fucking disprove all this shit.
No, I'm just saying a lot of things are less dense than they should be. It's a joke.
I know, I just
I'm
had
talking
an
about
excuse
people's
you're being-
dicks. I'm saying they're small dicks. Is that too hard? Is that a cultural
No, I just
reference?
I hadn't accused you of being an alien in a while, so I wanted to.
True, I am an alien. I'm not arguing with that. I swear to God, you never watched that fucking video of the other person mispronouncing shit.
That is a. Oh, Styx was pronouncing Richard Dreyfuss as Dreyfus.
Oh, that's a fucking weird one.
Also, what the fuck,
well, not
Stabby?
really, but
What the fuck, man? You had that fucking Reinhardt. What the hell were you doing?
I did have that Reinhardt. You're correct.
I saw that. What? God damn it. Anyway, what are we going on? Oh yeah, we were talking about lizard people. No, I'm joking. Talking about aliens. See, the lizard people thing was the other one I was listening to. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I haven't looked into it too much. The one where like, oh, we're controlled by lizard people and shit like that. I mean,
You gotta watch them fucking lizards, man. You can't.
What?
They're fucking everywhere. Those goddamn lizards.
Yep.
Oh man, why are you on the other side of that wall, you dumb fucking idiot?
you guys know who Gordon Cooper is?
No.
He was an astronaut way back in the early fucking, like, before we even went to the moon. He was like super fucking, famous because he was like, at the time it set the, longest time in orbit or whatever around the Earth and that kind of shit. So he was like super famous. He went on Letterman a lot for some reason. But anyways, he's literally talked about how when they were out somewhere in Nevada and like that there was a fucking, essentially a UFO that touched down and they fucking filmed it and fucking, he was like, yeah, well, I went to the thing, figured out how I was supposed to handle it. I told the people, they came and got the film and I've never heard anything about it again.
Oh man.
So the fact that somebody at that level, that's a fucking astronaut, who's fucking world famous, is talking about shit like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of wacky stuff out there, man. It's a trip.
But just someone that high up, fucking essentially saying something like that, it's different than just the fucking, the average person saying, yeah, I saw a fucking spaceship and I got abducted or whatever.
Yeah.
Although the abduction thing is fucking fascinating, dude. Again, no idea if it's fucking real or not. But there are people that seem to genuinely believe that it's happened to them. So again, whether it's real or not, it's pretty fucking interesting.
Yep.
Thing.
Yeah, one of the other
Ages of civilization, like Graham Hancock. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I kind of forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Something. Oh yeah, about like the talk about missing children. That kind of shit's been going on for a while. You heard about those?
Especially the national park shit.
Yeah, the national parks. That makes me wonder about going camping ever again. Like I don't know, man. I'm starting to get wondering.
Well, just avoid the national parks.
I guess.
Fine. And it's mostly kids. No, I guess it's not mostly kids.
Well,
some of the
varies.
shit where the kids are found relative to where they were is pretty. There's some pretty fucking crazy examples.
Yeah, like
They're like,
there are like the kids thing is always a something, but the thing is that like a lot of people talk about like what happens with missing children when there's like a conflict. Like for instance, when that whole thing was going on with Syria and people were immigrating over to various different parts of the country. Well, eventually, like part of the problem is that there's a bunch of missing children, and because no one has IDs or identifications or nothing like that, there's no way of knowing like who they are, where they go. Same thing going on with like the Mexico border. People are coming over with their kids, and a lot of times the kids are being brought over by like coyotes and stuff. That's the people who immigrate the children over, and a lot of these kids go missing. No idea where they are, and some people speculated that they're in like a sex trafficking or something like that, which is horrible. But it's something that's been a thing, and every time there's a conflict that goes on, there's always missing children. No idea where they go, and so one of the it's a terrible thing.
Fucking Epstein's Island, apparently. I'm guessing, or some variation thereof. You know, wherever the equivalent is nearby that needs fucking kids for these freaks.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is there seems to be so many of these fucking pedos in positions of fucking power. There's got to be some kind of feeder system for these fucking freaks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you go into a war zone where it can be kind of easily... Well, it's war. Kids disappear. They get killed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or Haiti. Like, apparently a bad... Well, you know, when the whole fucking shit happened in Haiti. Yeah, they're alleging that the Clinton Foundation was essentially going in and kidnapping kids.
Yep. Well, lizard people and stuff like that. That was part of the thing. What I've heard with the lizard people is that with the young kids, they essentially eat them.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah. Well, what they really want is what's called adrenochrome, which is like they're
adrenaline.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's best when they're with young kids because like when you're an adult, it's like old and stuff. So you need to get it's young, which is what I've heard while looking up on this lizard people shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, that one I
lizard
don't
people told me.
At least the lizard people thing, but again, it's definitely possible.
Like there again, that's one of those other.
Not
That's one of those other conspiracy theory things. But
Dude,
like,
as much as I joke, though, I would not at all be fucking stunned if there was actually lizard people.
Well, at this point, it's like yeah, who could be surprised? Well, the other thing is like I looked up on various different conspiracy theories on like Twitter because there's a couple of like channels and stuff that talk about that. One of which was something that was developed by the CIA, which was then later used in Hollywood, which was the essentially they create the whole makeup stuff. Like a lot of makeup artists in Hollywood used to work for the CIA in developing of fake making people look a certain way.
Yeah,
so like the people who used to work for like
because outside of surgery, there's no other way than like prosthetics and really really good ones to make people look like change someone's look entirely so that they're not like caught.
And it was like back in the 70s that they had pretty realistic looking prosthetics. Now that was back in the 70s. Now you can only imagine what they have today. Now one of the things because I remember watching a documentary of the woman who worked in Hollywood. But yeah, she said, I worked for the CIA and we developed all this stuff. They have very realistic looking stuff. You could look like anyone, anywhere. It's not that hard. And so like a lot of people have the conspiracy that there's a couple of guys who are pretending to be Joe Biden. And you would think, okay, yeah, well, whatever. But then if you look at him, he's shaking hands with people, he'll scratch his neck or he'll scratch his nose or something. And the skin literally goes with his finger. Like he accidentally is
weird. That's fucking creepy.
Like I saw there was a video of him scratching the back of his neck, and it's like the fingernail caught onto the skin and tugged the skin, and then came out. And I'm like, I think that's a mask. I think that's a prosthetic. I don't think that's really him, which would make sense because it's like let's just fucking look at Joe Biden. Like sometimes he's cohesive, and other times he's not. Well, that's probably because there's an actor or someone else playing it.
Yeah.
Like for all we know,
try to make him seem coherent though, instead of acting like a bumbling I get you kind of have to do it a little, but Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. So I think they're doing something to make him look a certain way.
Yeah.
Because for all we know, he looks way worse than what he really is. If that's even him. Like, I don't know. They could have someone else in there. Like, Joe Biden's like, he was 77 when he became president. He's been president for, what, 3 years? So he's going to be, like, in his 80s? Like, that's the oldest president of ever. Like, I think prior to that, the oldest president was, like, 77 when he left office. And now we have people, like, what is it, like 65 or whatever when they start taking away your driver's license?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the guy is not cohesive at all.
Yeah, no, he's obviously well into dementia, dude. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, Joe's fucking out of it.
Well, and when you look at the conspiracy theory about, what if he's a lizard person, and lizard people want that adrenochrome or whatever, and where they get kids.
The kitty chemical.
Chemical. And what do we see Joe Biden doing? He's always sniffing children.
Yeah, always.
I was going to say, does adrenochrome, like, radiate off of younger heads?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's always fucking just sticking his nose in their fucking faces and shit.
Yeah, he's always
so bizarre, dude.
He's always doing that, and like I said, if the conspiracy of lizard people is real, it's like I think he might be a lizard person because he keeps sniffing children, and not just anywhere. He's always in the back of the head, which is where the fucking adrenochrome is in the back of the head right there. So that's why
I was kidding.
No, like that, like okay.
Oh, that's a little fucking much, man. Jesus.
I know, but like when you listen to the lizard people conspiracy and they talk about, it's like Joe Biden fits it pretty well because he can't communicate properly. And these lizard people can't English too well. I don't know. I think he's a lizard person. I don't think he's a real person.
Yeah, it could be he just got replaced at some point by a lizard person because he used to be coherent. It's not like he spent 48 years or whatever in Congress and was always like that.
I don't even think.
Yeah, I could have swapped him out.
Yeah, I don't think he's in office. I think he's somewhere else entirely. Like he might even be dead. And these are just lizard people taking his place, and that's why they're saying he's going to run again. It's like why?
Oh god, can you imagine if anybody listened to this shit and took it seriously? It's like they're talking about lizard people now. Fucking.
I know. You can't be taken seriously on this channel because what's the talking about lizard people? I can't help it. I mean. If the conspiracy theories have been so right for the last 3 years at least, you gotta give some credence to them, and then just to say like, yeah, okay, that's crazy. That's a fun little theory, but yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I treat them as entertainment, for the most part.
Yeah, me too.
They are fucking entertaining.
That's all that you should do. But just be ready for to potentially eat your words and go, oh god, I should have listened. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Oh, I had a fun one. So, it's on a completely different thing. The last video I posted was hilarious, and it's in its own like the Naviette of the person who fucking posted it. He wanted to be a voice actor, and he's like, I failed because I didn't get the right thing or whatever, and it's like, nah.
Right.
No, you failed because you showed up to do your voice doing at a contract that your fucking what do you call it? Your agent set you up, and you refused to do the dog voice because you were above it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So when you show up where your agent is scheduled, you either trust your fucking agent or you fucking don't. But you show up and you do the fucking job you're told to do. When you're an actor or an actress, they don't want to waste all this fucking time going back and forth and trying to coax you into shit, unless it's to get something that's like really weird, like finagly little, like we need this certain sound, so we need to do that.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
Yeah, and it was like. Yeah, no, you lost your option because you were too good to bark for the fucking microphone. I'm getting paid. I'll bark all fucking day long, baby. You bark whatever they do, whatever. I'll bark in alphabet letters. I'll bark whatever they want me to bark. I'm in 100 fucking %.
Yeah, that one was definitely like, dude, come on. Yeah. It's not like they're just fucking doing that as a fucking some weird audition. Like they're going to pay you to do this shit. And you're like, nah, I have artistic integrity or something. Yeah. And then he talks about the part where he was supposed to be like essentially the ferryman, but it was supposed to be like kind of a dark, twisted thing, and he did it in like a weird, light, happy voice or something, because he didn't have enough information about what the role was. All right, sorry.
No? All right.
Sorry, I was just trying to kill some little fucking irritant. Oh, and apparently holding onto my fucking ult forever. I don't know why.
That's what I was wondering.
Oh, that was weird.
See, what I don't understand about Overwatch, because you remember that controversy about Tracer and her butt?
Oh yeah, where they try to sexualize all these characters all the time, constantly.
See, that's the part I don't understand. It's like, okay, okay, there's always this controversy about her butt, but like I see all these other characters, but that butt though, that Widowmaker butt though. I mean, my God, that bitch has an ass that can fucking stop a bus. Yeah, I mean they have no problem with that. One of the few times
it's like they were trying to do it on the slide somehow. They're like, okay, we can't. People complain that they look attractive or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they have a problem with attractive people. They just sort of do.
Yeah, well, it's because they're not the ones that are complaining.
Well,
generally,
there again, I think some political activist groups like feminists, I think, were also paid actors for BlackRock and other organizations because they're all about tearing apart social cohesion. Because it's like at some point there were a bunch of groups of people complaining about the industry, from comic books to video games, and then the industry decided to say, okay, to satisfy you, we'll just hire you. And which is weird. It's like, what? That's all you gotta do is complain. That's how you get a job at Blizzard? Okay. I had no idea that's how it worked.
Yeah, just threaten a boycott or something. Hey, if you hire me, I won't fucking get a bunch of people to complain about you.
Yeah. So I always thought that was kind of weird. But yeah, that's what they did. And each time they do, they always lose money.
Yes.
Like, I remember back in the day when I used to play World of Warcraft, women would always sexualize themselves. They'd make their characters with like sexy bikini outfits, which is all totally optional. You don't have to do that, but they do that because they like doing that. And it's the same thing with some of the main characters. Like there's this woman who's the leader of the undead. She's this really sexy elf lady in like a chainmail bikini kind of outfit. It's like, yeah, fucking Sylvanas, love her, awesome. And then in like later expansions, they covered her up, and it was weird. And they did that for a lot of the other female characters. Like, this is just bizarre. Like, why is one woman who's always been depicted as wearing these robes and stuff like that? Well, now she has to wear pants. Like, why is she wearing pants? She looks ugly in pants.
Because pants.
Because women have to wear the pants in the relationship. Like, oh, this is terrible. I hate it. Granted, I mean, like, I like the only compromise I'll do is like when women wear yoga pants. I'm like, okay, all right, fine. There was a chick out earlier when I took my dog out for a walk, and she was wearing like some black yoga pants, but it's the type that's like a size too small for her, so they stretch out and it's practically see through. Like, this bitch knows what she's doing.
Oh yeah, they don't accidentally find themselves in that.
You're talking about like Joe Rogan's vagina curtain kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's like I could see the type of underwear you're wearing. Those kind of pants. Like, yeah. Which reminds me, The other thing that I've also noticed is that when I start going out for the walks, I come across this this baby blue kind of this really nice car. It's kind of racing. It's the kind of car that has like that little fin on the back that's supposed to make it go faster. You know what I'm talking about? Kind of like a race car looking thing. And it's like the baby blue.
Yeah, spoiler?
Yeah.
No, fin. Okay, no, I got you.
Yeah, the fin, and it's a very flashy kind of car, and everything else. And then I see that, I'm like, because that car is not normal. It's not. It doesn't like when everyone's here. It's like this car isn't here by like the end of the day. It's only here during like noon or whatever else. And I saw this and went, huh. I wonder. And then I look at the back of the windshield. It has "Follow me on my OnlyFans," and I'm like, oh shit,
Wow.
you're not here because
I think that's one of the hugest problems in our fucking economy right now. I know that sounds weird, but if you think about it, you got literally thousands, if not like more, like tens of thousands, maybe. Like I don't know how many people are on OnlyFans, but you've got like hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, of people who are just sucking money out of the economy for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that is a huge problem. Like, we don't have disposable income as an economy right now. Like, we can't afford to have these people sucking that money out of people's pockets. Like, those people need to be buying stuff that matters. You know, like actual physical objects with that money. It's really a problem.
Well, there's a few things with that, but before I get to that, I wanted to say, like, there was a woman on the Whatever podcast, and she was I think it was the Whatever podcast, but she was talking about how, like, I make just as, if not more money than a doctor who went to school for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, when you think about that, that's absolutely insane. But then you think about, like, why is that happening? Because you're right, people need to be spending their money on more useful things instead of this. Well, part of the reason why they're spending it is because there's no real opportunity, or at least or perceived lack of opportunity. Like,
well, and also because the women are so hard for men to get, and I don't think that a lot of men understand that, like, collectively, if we stopped paying for OnlyFans, men would end up married a lot more often.
Sort of.
That would be. That's all it would take. Suddenly, they need an income. Like, they'd either be working, which would be good for the economy, or they'd be married, which would also be good for the economy, like having kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that they do. I think part of the problem is also, like, because we got to change the mentality of men. We also definitely need to change the mentality of women. Partially because, like, with a lot of women, they tend to.
It's insane. Like, you take somebody who's a 3 and they think they're a 10.
Yep.
And that they deserve a 10, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah, because it used to be like you have people that are like, like 5s and all that. They should be dating people who are also 5s. Sometimes they can get someone that's higher up.
You might get a 6 or a 7 if you're a 5. If you have a really good personality, sure.
Yeah,
if you have a lot of money, you might be able to do that by like a 3 or a 4-digit like increase. But ultimately, the thing that gets me is, like, you can't. It's just weird to just assume. Like, it's such a unfortunate thing to assume, because, like, no one's gonna fucking like, they're just gonna end up lonely and alone.
Mm-hmm. A lot of this I blame on social media and dating apps, and, like, I gotta say, from what I've learned, it's like we need to just get rid of social media in general. And it's impossible to do because people look at the power of it, and even if you get rid of all social media, there's going to be another one that comes around that'll do the exact same thing. So it's like, it's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. The reason why I say that is because social media, despite what you may think, all of them, and I mean all of them, are essentially dating apps. And the reason is like, you could have Facebook and Twitter. What's an option that they both have? A direct message, a DM. So if you can get into a DM, like, I can get into a direct message and contact pretty much any woman on anything. And part of the problem with that is because women, they have the option to sleep around and not get in trouble because they can get on with multiple different guys.
Yeah.
I think that's something to keep in mind. It's like if I have a girlfriend, it's like if she wants to date me exclusively, I'm going to tell her like, look, I want this relationship to work. I want you to not use any dating apps. Not I don't want you using any social media. None. It's not enough to say okay, I'll delete what was it, Tinder. Yeah, it's not. That's not enough. Or playing a fish or all that kind of stuff. That's not the all of it. You need to get rid of your Instagram, or at least set it to private. Get rid of your Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Like that's the most important part because each one has the ability to have a direct private message with anyone. And part of like you may find out to believe, but Facebook is the number one app that women use to cheat. The number one app because all you gotta do is send a friend request. All you gotta do is send a friend request. Say, I just want to chat. I'm just looking to make friends. Just do the innocent, nebulous stuff. Give it a few days. She's fucking another guy. That's all it takes. And Facebook is the most scary, frightening app just for that. And part of the reason is because you have to like give out your name and all that kind of stuff. Like you can't be a fake. Well, you can be a fake person on Facebook, I guess, but not everyone does that. So, yep.
You mentioned that whatever podcast earlier. I just posted a pic in the Discord of one of the bitches that thinks she's hot.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah. Everyone's been talking about this bitch. What the fuck?
Just in case either of you hadn't seen it, I figured I'd post it. Like her tits are weird. They're like they go off to the side. Like there's no dude. It's fuck, dude. It's so fucking gross.
It talks about like women's delusion, like body positivity and all the other kind of stuff. Like
the fat is beautiful thing. Like that. It's just like all those lies.
Yeah.
Fuck up people's like perceptions of reality to a point where.
I'm actually surprised that guy still has a podcast. I keep thinking any day now it's going to be taken down for hate speech or something. It's like it's designed for discrimination. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching one the other day. It was some old bitch who was like, pretty fucking average looking. And they're having everybody rate themselves. And she literally rated herself a 10.
Wow. I remember like there was some woman that was on there, and she said she was 21, and Brian, the guy was like, it says here on your profile you're 32. It's like yeah, I'm 21. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that, or if you've come across that, Stabby, that picture of that bitch.
Oh yeah, I seen that video clip. Somebody played it on I forget which show.
Just like God, what a fucking mess, dude.
And you're just like, what do you mean you're a fucking 10? Like, are you fucking lunatic?
Yeah, and she absolutely should be wearing a bra to fucking corral those fucking things.
Oh yeah.
They're like they slide off to the side. I think her fucking nipples are under her fucking armpits.
No. Nipples are under her armpits. I love that shit.
Dude. It's like, yeah, no, I'm fucking hot. You have a vagina, and there's guys willing to, put up with any, not all guys, certainly, but there's always going to be dudes out there, mostly black dudes, who are like, yeah, no, I can put it up with that, as long as I get to stick my cock in the pussy. All right. So yeah, Media Matters continues to make Tucker Carlson look more
sane,
personable, and relatable. Yeah, it's amazing that he thinks that they think this is making him look bad. I'm like, no, well, this is kind of how people talk in real life. He's being a real person. and it's pretty fucking funny. Like the shit he's saying is pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he called her a cunt. Well, she probably is a cunt. All right.
What else is going on? I had a bunch of stuff in there, so hold on. Oh, you pulled up a picture of this bitch? Oh god, she's fucking hideous. Yeah, it's so disgusting. And she genuinely believes she's like a 10. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah. Well, and women seem to think that being able to find a dude or two or three or whatever to stick their cock in you.
Oh, I guarantee that woman's virgin.
Make it hot. And it's like, no, pussy's, even at its worst, it's still pretty fucking pleasant.
Yeah.
I assume I've never fucked it.
Well, the urge to procreate is extremely strong, and it's a very natural urge that humans have, and it is extremely, extremely strong.
Yeah, and I assume it's kind of tied into the same of attacking the very young or the very old. She looks like easy pickings.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Well,
like this bitch surely has no standards. I can fuck her. She's got a vagina. I can, close my eyes and pretend I'm not fucking Jabba the slut or whatever.
Yeah, that's very true.
Talking about the fat chick? I can't.
Dude,
it's like, it's like trying to get on with a walrus. I don't think it can work.
Yeah, and there's sometimes some girls that are pretty fucking fat that still kind of look cute. But,
you know what? There's people that are into everything. You know what I mean? Like as far as reality wise, like there's some skinny black dude that's gonna want to fuck her.
Yeah.
That's just a given.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be a 6. You know what I mean? He's not gonna be like a fucking 10.
Yeah. But still he's still fucking below his level.
Yeah.
Just
because he's probably got like a fetish. It's like a fetish thing. It's like they're few and far between.
Happens.
There are girls that really, really dig big fat dudes.
See, there was a big girl on the bus the other day, and I gotta say, unlike this fucking abomination, this woman is ugly as fuck. This fat woman I saw on the bus, she had a really pretty face. Like, she was really good looking, but she just had all that fat on her. And I'm like, bitch, if you just hit the gym, just did like a keto diet or something for a bit and lose that weight, you'd be fucking happy. And I don't mean happy in that you're happy that you're no longer like twice your size. I mean, you'd be happy because guys want to talk to you. You'd be dating. Maybe you wouldn't be taking the bus. Maybe you'd have your husband drive you around.
Other women would want to spend time around you.
Yeah, exactly. Your life would only get better if you took care of yourself. That's all. And she's not alone. I've seen other big women who are just gorgeous women, but they're just fucking big. And it's like you think about all the permanent damage that they're doing to their bodies by being that big. It's like, I remember there was one time I was in a coffee shop, and there was the woman there, and she wasn't a big woman, but you know how you see some people and they have this frown to them, they've had
it's a permanent frown. Yeah,
it's like a permanent frown. It's the kind of thing that looks like it came about from having like double chins for too long, and your skin is permanently in that bizarre frowny state. This woman looked thin. I got the feeling like she lost a lot of weight, but she has to deal with the fact that now her face looks like it's smushed up, like a fucking bulldog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
honestly though, from having done it before, losing a big amount of weight, just the benefit, really, just the physical benefit for yourself of nothing else, just how you feel physically, it's really worth it. Genuinely, if nothing else works out, it's so much better. It's so worth it.
I should probably weigh myself, dude, because I've actually I don't exercise or even watch what I eat that much,
Mhm.
but just fucking interacting with the fucking grandpuppy constantly.
Getting out and walking
There's a
around
lot
and
of
stuff,
fucking
yeah.
activity. Yeah, yeah, walking in the parks and the neighborhoods and all that shit. So I've
See,
probably lost weight without realizing it.
see,
Yep.
like I've been going to the gym a lot, and part of my problem is that I tend to skip leg day, which is a big no no. You shouldn't do that, but I do because I hate doing leg day because the legs are such a big part of your body that the oxygen goes all the way down into there because you're using those muscles, and it kind of sucks the life out of you. Because what I would do is I lift the weights and I go on the machines and then I go on the treadmill for about 30 minutes. So I did that and I'm on the treadmill and by like 20 minutes I'm practically exhausted. Like I just want to stop, but I power through. But it's like I could tell that it sucked up my energy, and that's why I didn't go to the gym today because I'm like I'm so fucking tired from always going.
Yeah.
Like I've been taking creatine,
Yeah,
which is
it's a grind. Yeah.
it is, and I'm like, like I think I'll just designate Thursdays as my rest day because by then it's like I've worked my chest, I've worked my back, I've done my abs, and I just finished my legs. My body is telling me stop. I'm like, okay, Thursdays will be my stop day, and then tomorrow I do shoulders, and then like I usually take the weekend off, mostly because
I
everyone's
was
out
gonna
of
say you want
school.
more than one rest day during a week for sure. Yeah, I was gonna be like, you can't go 6 days on, 1 day off. That's way too much.
Yeah, well, and like I could do it, but I choose not to because I need to rest.
No, I mean physically, it'll start to damage you. Like you can't, you really shouldn't do 6 days in a row, and then like your joints are gonna start to get fucked up eventually. Like it's one of those things where you're starting to do really microscopic amounts of damage, but they're gonna seriously add up in like 10 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta have like I think it's like one every 2 or 3 days. You gotta have a day off
Yeah,
just for your body to recover and rebuild some of the proteins and stuff.
that's pretty much what's been happening. So I've just been like resting. So tomorrow I'll do shoulders, and then I take the weekend off. Like I said, it's mostly because like all the kids and stuff are out of school. Because where I go is it's called a rec center, so it's like a government building. There's a swimming pool, a skating rink, a
Oh, I know what
gym.
you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those all-purpose kind of centers. It's not just a place to lift weights; it's got lots of everything else. So
But it's
because
free and open to everybody, or there's a very small fee to use it.
yeah, it's like there's a small fee, but it's also like a government facility, so
Yeah,
people on disabilities go there all the time. So every now and then there'll be like a someone there who's like who can't even talk, and every now and then makes weird
yeah,
noises. You know
yeah.
what
We
I'm
have
talking
community
about?
centers that are basically the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Our
So
community center would be your rec center, I believe.
I believe so. I think it's about the same thing.
Yeah, it's usually
So like
supported by the government, like very like barely supported, and
yeah,
they've usually got just a bunch of different kind of like physical activities, like sports and weightlifting and like basketball and stuff. Like just depending on where it is and what the popular stuff is in that area.
exactly. Well, and that's where I'm going. So that's what I'll do to do my stuff.
So you are at the mercy of summertime kids getting out, getting in your way.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, fucking spring break was intense. I hated spring break. There were so many young people there all the bloody time. And like I remember trying to get on the weights and do the thing, and then there'd be like lots of teenagers, and they're like eyeballing the benches, wait until you're done. Like I remember like getting on my back, and I literally have a weight over top of my head, and some kids like, "Hey man, how many reps you got left?" It's like I just started. But, oh, okay, so like one more rep. It's like, no, go away.
Yeah, like seriously, fuck off, asshole.
Or like I'll get up and maybe I might want to change my weights, and then some kid will start wiping down the bench, and it's like, hey, I'm not done with that. Like, fucking kid. I remember using like a leg machine, and they're just these kids are just like a small group, and they're standing around talking, and they keep walking in front of me, and I literally kick one kid in the leg when I'm trying to use the machine, and I'm like, hey, do you mind giving me space here? The kid's like, oh yeah, and he keeps standing there. I'm like, well, I can kill you. I hate teenagers. Not
Well,
to mention,
it sounds like the people that run the rec center and have like I'm sure they have people who monitor it are not doing a very good job.
Well, they're probably overwhelmed because there is lots of kids there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's underfunding. I'm not saying it because they're bad people or they're bad at their job. They're just not doing a very good one.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was,
It's
like
kind of the standard for pretty much every community center on the planet too. I mean,
pretty much. And for me, like one of the absolute worst is like when I'm trying to get into a locker. So like the locker rooms are there. You can use your locker. There's a little combination, and I'm standing there waiting and waiting and waiting, and then like someone will come in, and I'm like, oh good, someone's gonna get their shit and leave. I'm like, okay, great. These kids, fuck, I don't know what's up with these kids. They have 3 different sets of shoes. They come in and they change their shoes and they go somewhere else. But god fucking damn it! Like they'll change their shoes to go up to the workout room, and then they'll come back, change their shoes to go down to the gymnasium, and then they'll change their shoes to just leave the gym altogether and head out. Like what? Why do you need 3 shoes? Why? I just have 2 sets. One for inside, one for outside. That's it. Speaking of which, recently I had a pair of shoes stolen from me, which was fucking annoying.
that is a weird one.
At the community center? Or?
Yeah. So what happens is like, because this is Canada, we have these shoe racks that you can leave your shoes in because it's snowy here like majority of the year. So whenever you come in, you're gonna have boots and stuff. They're all gonna be covered in snow and muck and whatever else. So you leave them on the rack for them to drip dry and everything. So that just makes sense. So I've just been doing that this whole time, and I've been going to this gym for a year and a half now. And so like I just leave my shoes there, and then I grab them when I head out. Well, I come out and it's like my shoes are gone. Someone took my shoes. Now I wasn't.
It seems like a weird thing that they don't have some sort of locker system.
Well, I mean,
that kind of place. You know what I mean? Because kids are notorious for stealing.
Like you could put them in the locker, but then like if it's winter time, they're all going to be all wet and mucky. And you want to put your bag on that where it's going to get all covered in mud and shit. Like, and they do have a boot cleaner, but it only cleans like the bottom of the boot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like you're taking like again, this is Canadian cold climate opposed to California nice climate. Our shit here is terrible. Like footwear is always gross. We're now in our summer, so we get to limit for a limited time experience what you experience.
Yes.
Well, okay, all right. I know you guys have the sun.
Don't be afraid of it. It's good for you.
Exactly. Let me tell you, I was out not too long ago, and I got burnt super fast. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not used to this sun stuff. But anyway, yeah, when I lost my shoes, I wasn't overly upset because they're cheap $15 Walmart shoes. But I wasn't
so lucky. You can afford. You can get those.
Well, I mean, I had to because my old shoes just fell apart on me.
I wear a size 13 4E. They don't sell it anywhere but like specialty stores.
Oh.
And I can't wear it just like extra wide. It's got to be 4X wide.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I've never paid less than $75 for a pair of shoes.
Theory.
Yeah, there you go. Fucking
yeah, aliens have huge feet, dude.
Yes, we do.
Oh, God.
I mean, they do.
Feet, big feet, but small dicks. Is that how this works?
Yeah. Aliens, giant feet, little dicks. That's what it is. Yeah.
If you were telling me, oh yeah, it's not so much that
I'm hunted
long.
by most of my species because I'm one of the rare large dick aliens that they tried to wipe out. You know?
Oh, is that how it goes?
Yes,
yeah.
That's what it is.
I was gonna say
cancel Stabby for his huge cock.
That's why I'm hiding amongst the humans.
it's not so much that like if we're going by foot size, it's 13. It's like, well, that's a long foot size, but it's wide. It's like what was it, like a 3 double size wide? That means it's kind of girthy.
It's 4X to XL essentially.
So it's like the size of a small house cat. It's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I literally there are times when I've accidentally put cats on my feet, thinking they were slippers. Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
Terrible shit.
They don't stay warm for very long.
So I don't get sidetracked. I literally had those fucking shoes for only 2 days.
Oh, that is shitty. 2 days afterwards, yeah, that would be the part that would make me mad.
That's what really got. It's not so much like they're cheap shoes. Okay, I can get a new pair, which I did, but I only had them for like 2 days. That's what really, really ticked me off. If I had them for a month, it's like, oh well, I guess I'll get another pair. No, 2
And
days.
then if you see somebody wearing the same kind of shoes, there's no way for you to know like which, if it was your shoes.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna have to carry a baseball bat and some mace around to just deal lessons to people who wear those kind of shoes.
Exactly.
Just beat them all up.
I almost feel like being a kid again and start writing my name on things.
You know what? Nothing wrong with that.
I might have to. So the new pair I got has like.
Because the odds are that dumb son of a bitch went back to the same place and put him there himself when he was working out.
Probably.
And you might find your pair of shoes with your name in it and just be like, "Ah, it's my fucking name."
Yeah, that's
nobody can argue that these are mine. Bye, and then take your shoes back.
Yep. See, okay, if it had to be any pair of shoes, I'm glad, because I recently had to buy two different sets of shoes because my gym shoes literally fell apart on me while I was on the treadmill. So my gym shoes were fucking done. They just sort of opened up from like the sole. It's like, okay, my gym shoes literally...
it's cheap glue between the shoe part and the sole. Yeah.
So like my gym shoes went, and my outdoor shoes, they were also cheap Walmart shoes. So it's like, clearly it's a sign. So like my gym shoes, they were on sale, so they were like $60. So like, okay, those are worth a lot more than my cheap Walmart shoes. So long as my gym shoes are fine, I don't fucking care. I can get cheap shoes again. It's not a big deal.
I think the best set of shoes I ever owned was a pair of cowboy boots.
I hate cowboy boots so much.
Have you ever worn a set of cowboy boots though?
Yes.
Oh my god, they're the most comfortable shoes on the planet when you wear them in.
I could care less. I do not care.
I think I would love like a cowboy boot without the pointed toe and the heel. Just like the same style of shoe, but like a shoe would be really
They're all
nice.
garbage. They're all garbage. I don't care. I want them. I literally grew up on farm. Okay, I've had shoes.
You grew up on a cowboy shoe.
I grew up.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe who had so many kids she didn't know what to do. That was you?
No. No.
Sorry.
I grew up on farms. I know how to ride horses since I was a kid.
Horse riding is fun.
Fuck no. I hate horse riding. I hate it so much.
What do you hate about horse riding? What did a horse fucking rape you when you were a child?
No, it's just
it is a little bumpy.
I made to do it as a kid. I don't like it. I don't like. I know the horses are fine and all that kind of shit. They're kind of unpredictable. I don't like them. I don't like riding them. They're uncomfortable. They're painful as fuck. I know how to get it done.
I've always loved riding horses. I've never been uncomfortable on a horse.
I've always hated horses. I've hated them.
What was it? There was it was in a fucking summer camp and we went horse riding. We were going to go on a horseback, like a horse camping trip, ride the horses out for half a day, camp for the evening, and then ride back in the morning. And a big ass thunderstorm comes, and we're up in the mountains here, so you get to watch it coming across the valley. And it's got thunder and lightning, and the horses are spooked. And I was the only one, including out of the people that worked at the camp. And this was like a fucking rich kid camp. So these weren't like high schoolers that were bored and got a job. These were like full-on grown adults who did this regularly every year. Because I went back to the same summer camp a couple of times. And I was the only one that managed to stay on the horse. And then I had the horse calm down enough that I could still ride it, and they wouldn't let me. And I was so mad. I was like, let me get struck by lightning, you fuckers. My horse is fine, and we're good. Like, I want to ride the horse back. I'm lazy. I don't want to walk back to summer camp like you plebs. So I've always loved horses since then. Like, that's always been like a thing.
Nope, not for me. I even have fucking ribbons. I've done competition. I know how to do it. I hate riding horses.
You're a better horse rider than I am then, for sure.
Probably. I don't know.
I haven't touched a horse in fucking 3 decades, 4 decades.
Like I said, I grew up with horses. I don't like horses.
Yeah.
It was my mom's passion, not mine. But she made me do it.
Nothing will sour you on something more than a parent making you do their thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, I've tried on my own and all that kind of stuff. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with horses. I don't like what they can do. I don't like the idea that at any moment they can just sort of take a run on this kind of stuff. It's not like maybe I didn't have the confidence to do it. Like I wrote them enough, but I just never built up the confidence. It's like, and then it's like you said, like my mom really wanted me to do it because that was her passion, not mine. So,
Yeah.
like I said,
My dad really wanted me to play baseball, and I played Little League until I had a choice. Then it was like, no.
Yeah. See, that's just it. I mean,
I didn't hate it as much as you hated horses, but like it still was not something I really enjoyed that much.
Yeah, I mean, you have to want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think you can encourage kids to be doing it. But for me, it was like, no, I don't want to do it. Yeah, I have no interest in this whatsoever. Not to mention, it's like farm life. It's just not the life for me. I think like there are certain things that they're kind of not great. Like when you give people choices and stuff. Like for instance, you have all these farms out there that have been in families for generations, but the kids don't want to be farmers. They want to go off and do other things.
Being a farmer is a hard fucking job.
Well, sure. Well, sure.
It's long hours. The money you make isn't amazing because the equipment you have to keep up and like pay for to do the farming to make enough money to live off of is really expensive. So even if you make at the end of the year a lot of money, most of that goes right back into the farm. And then, and you're talking like dawn to dusk at least every day. Most days. You're not, and farms don't take the weekend off because like your crops don't just fucking be like, all right, we'll take care of ourselves today, boss. We got it. Take a weekend.
Yeah, the animals aren't like, we got it. It's the weekend. We'll starve for 2 days.
All right, it's no big deal if we eat for the next couple of days, boss. No big. Yeah, we got it. So it's like it's rough work. I think what a lot of people could think of when they talk about wanting to be farmers and stuff. Most people, when they talk about wanting to be farmers, I would say, are the people who like have a pretty big garden and are like homesteaders. I say it with giant fake quotation marks. The homesteaders that live off of the land, where they basically just have a really big garden to supplement their like vegetables and fruits. Like that's what I think most people think of when they're like, I want to be a farmer. It's like, nah, it's a lot more work than that.
Well,
like Owen Benjamin, he's a homesteader.
Yeah, he drinks turpentine too, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's funny because there's a dude called Barricade Garage that they got into it with, and he's like, dude, you're not a fucking farmer, you're a homesteader. He's like, as soon as your fucking people stop sending you money, you lose your fucking farm.
That's a lot of homesteads. Really are only successful because they're on the internet getting supplementary income from like YouTube.
Yeah.
Because the reality is growing enough food for an entire year and then figuring out how to preserve for like, a lot of that food needs to be preserved in like really specific ways, and that takes more and more equipment and more materials, and it's like it's not fucking easy. Oh, did you guys see the thing on the NyQuil chicken?
Yes.
I thought that was fucking hilarious, man. Like, it wasn't actually like a YouTube thing. It was just one random TikToker found this old video that a guy made as a joke cooking chicken in NyQuil.
Yeah.
And did like a commentary thing on it, and then the news just picked it up and ran with it like it was this big fucking popular trend. Thus resulting in a bunch of other people doing it. Like,
yeah, like they thought they were trying to sell it like the Tide Pod challenge or that kind of shit.
Yeah, so immediately a bunch of people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna cook chicken in NyQuil."
Yeah, and then the one dude's like doing like fucking silly directions. Again, just cook it for 5 to 30 minutes. Like, no, it's pretty fucking wild. And he's using the fucking hair straightener instead of fucking tongs.
Yeah.
Like, this is obviously a fucking joke, you retards. But the news is like, well, it's really slow today. Let's run that stupid NyQuil thing and pretend it's real.
And the news ended up making it into like an internet thing for a very brief period. I missed it. I don't know. I don't remember the NyQuil thing. So it obviously didn't spread as far as all that, but still.
Yeah, there definitely were multiple news. news places that covered it though. But yeah, you're like, dude, come on.
Oh, okay, I don't know. I'm assuming Samaj didn't, but did you see the video about from Moist Charlie, the a widow arrested for husband's murder thing?
Widow arrested for husband's murder.
She went on and wrote a book about grief for little kids and ended up being arrested because she murdered her husband.
No.
So it was a weird story, right? To follow me, I feel like it's the husband's fault.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we go. This woman had decided she wanted to murder her husband. She started buying books off of Amazon, like How to Murder Your Husband and Get Away with It.
Okay.
Shit like that. That's one of the reasons why they started looking into her. He started to get the hint and think that she was trying to murder him, to the point where he was telling like his business partner, like, hey, if I die one day, it didn't just happen, my wife killed me. I think she's trying to fucking poison me. So then one day she makes him a sandwich, and he eats the sandwich, and he has like the fucking the whole hives reaction. His neck puffs up. He managed to get an EpiPen into his leg and a Benadryl down his throat, and then he passed out, and then came to again. Like later, after the symptoms had subsided, he barely survived it. Now at this point,
get the fuck out.
I would have left that day.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I would never have come back. I would never have eaten anything. He'd already suspected he was being poisoned. He clearly was poisoned again, like to the point where he almost died. And then he just kept living in the house and with his wife. But he started like getting ready to divorce her and stuff, and like arranging like divorce and like life insurance, so that she wasn't the beneficiary and that kind of stuff. And you're like, dude, it's your fault. You should have just left.
Yeah, how do you not leave when it gets to that level? How do you, dude? I don't know. I feel like even like if you didn't have any place to go, like I'd rather sleep on the fucking.
Dude, I'm sure his business
outside.
partner would have put him up for a couple of fucking months while he figured everything out.
Yeah, unless he was in on it.
Yeah, I mean seriously, like if Samaj was was married and his wife was trying to kill him and he needed places to stay, I'm like, yo, I'll throw a mattress on the floor. You can sleep in the garage with the fucking fold-out bed and 50 blankets, or you can sleep in the on the couch in the living room or wherever. Like we'll make room because you're gonna die if we don't.
One acquaintance,
like.
Who doesn't have one acquaintance that you can say, hey, my wife is absolutely trying to poison me and kill me. Can I stay with you for a while?
Yeah.
I would hope everybody knows at least one person that would be like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if it's somebody I didn't like, I'd be like, no, this is working for me. This works way better for me if you don't stay with me.
Yeah.
No, I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, like, dude, how did you not immediately leave after you got poisoned the first time? Clearly, she's practicing. Yeah. Get the fuck out, you fucking dummy.
Yep.
That was all I had. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, this dumb son of a bitch.
That's fucking nuts. I thought you were going to bring up the girl DUI who killed 2 people and was really concerned about getting to school the next day.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. God,
that bitch. I didn't know that. I didn't know if that was real or not. It was so bizarre.
Right? It was so creepy.
Yeah, no, that was my own point. I'm like, dude, I had been fucking blackout drunk, fucking super wasted, and been, a complete asshole, completely insensitive. Well, not completely, obviously, compared to her, but like, yeah, there's no way I could be drunk enough that I'm not going to register that 2 people are fucking dead because of me.
Yeah.
And be concerned, like, okay, not tomorrow, but like, I got a class Tuesday night. Yeah. But I love how she was all shocked that he called her fucking horrible or whatever the fuck he called her. Can you say that as a cop? He's like, yeah, I can. You're fucking horrible.
Yeah, you killed 2 people and like no reaction. I'm like,
yeah, like laughing about it, dude. Jesus Christ.
Well, and wasn't she basically very cavalier throughout the trial as well?
Was there a trial?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
She was, realized she was going to jail for a long time. That's when she was like, no, I'm really sorry. Yeah. You're like, oh, you're sorry that you're going to jail for your actions? You're not actually sorry for your actions. Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, she did get like 10 years, I think, Samaj. Like 10 years in
Wow.
prison, which seems light to me.
Yeah.
With
It
the
was
attitude.
14.
Well, to me, it sounds about
It
right.
should have been 28, and pretty much everybody was like, yeah, it should be 28. Like, at least she got the 14, because you never know with fucking women and fucking the court system. But yeah, she got 14 years.
Oh, 14 years. I thought it was 10. My bad. I missed a...
Yeah.
Mixed up a couple of stories in my head somewhere.
Yeah, I remember it was because it was exactly half of what she could have gotten. Like, she could have gotten up to 28, and she got 14.
28 seems more fair to me.
How old was she?
Yeah. Yeah.
How old was
I think she was like 21 or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking early 20s.
See, I thought she was younger. I thought she was like I don't know, 16.
You know, if from
Yeah,
a
no,
16-year-old, that would be
college
less concerning. Because 16-year-olds are all little fucking sociopaths anyway.
Yeah.
Their brains aren't quite
Like-
developed
like
all
I-
the way.
Well, see,
I mean,
that's
you
what I
would
thought.
still want to punish the shit out of that person because fuck them, right? Like, that's
Well,
just
see,
a bad
that's-
person.
See, that's what I was getting at. It's like she seems like someone who is too young. Like probably got their driver's license as soon as she could. Started driving. Parents probably didn't even know where she was, and then she went out and started drinking and started being a dumb bitch.
Well, she's
And-
probably never taken care of herself. She's probably always been taken care of. So
Yeah.
even though she's in college, and I think she was in like her second or third year of college, actually.
Yeah.
She probably went straight from high school to college, and then the college is probably, she probably has enough money that she comes from enough money that like, her meals are delivered to her like private dorm room every day at a certain time whenever she wants, and barely has to go do much of anything at class because she's a woman and she's slightly off-white, so she's perfect.
Yeah, and again, I'm guessing she never really had to deal with any consequences from her shitty behavior leading up to that point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, earlier we were talking about. I'm gonna change the subject here to when we were talking about that NyQuil chicken thing. It's like that's just a fake video. I was reminded about that lockpicking lawyer.
Does he turn out to be a fake or something?
No, he's a comedy channel. Makes it sound like he's at one of those DUI, like do-it-yourself, kind of lockpicking experiments. But really, it's just you listen to him talk. It's like a deadpan thing about breaking into his ex-girlfriend's back door, and it's an April Fool's thing. It's all about how you gotta be gentle when you're going into the back door. So you gotta go you gotta move around the lock a little bit, and then you're going in and you have to go gently in and out until the hole can have a nice little click, and you turn it around a little bit. Sometimes the finger is the best thing you do before you get going in. So it's one of those kind of videos. It's the kind
of analogy.
Exactly, and let me tell you, he does. He's got one for like Valentine's Day and all that kind of shit. It's so fucking suggestive, and they're all jokes. They're fucking amazing. I love this guy's channel. Everything he does is hilarious.
I've seen like the lockpicking, and I was worried for a minute that was all nonsense because I was like, "That's like magic." This dude is like, "Oh, this is a pick-proof lock. Let me see if that's true. Did it done?" You're like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah, no, I don't think it's one of those. I don't think he does. Maybe he does. I don't know who the guy really is. All I know is that these are hilarious videos, and it's just comedy gold. It's like he's just making fun of YouTube videos, like how-tos and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube of like genuinely how to do all sorts of crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, and then you just do this and this and this and this, and you're like, I don't. All right. Thanks, man.
I can tell you the putting all the tape on the window and pulling down is some bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
They got me with that one.
Oh, you tried it, did you?
Dude, I actually did. And yeah, and if I can't do it with my weight and my fucking strength, dude. Yeah, yeah. Apparently, and I've read the comments in there. They're like, okay, somebody's inside pulling the lever down. It doesn't match up with your actions. You know what I mean? Like them pulling, like it keeps going a little after. Fucking yeah. I'm like, what a fucking
No,
shitty
you
thing to do,
can't
though.
force the window to roll down and then the arm won't just spin inside. No, this doesn't work that way.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, why though? Why the
I
fuck?
know when they're trying to get your key, or like trying to unlock, like you get a professional to unlock your car. Because we had a friend of mine whose car locked their keys in the car in the mall, and we just could not fucking. Even after like an hour, we just couldn't do it. So she's like, "Fuck it, I'm calling a tow truck." They put like a little pillow thing in there that's all flat, and then they pump it up full of air, and then that pushes the window out from the frame a little bit. And they get
Oh,
about a half an
gotcha.
inch between the window and the frame, and then they can stick down like the special tool to either unlock the door, roll the window down, or grab the keys, depending on like what's there.
I did get really close to getting that fucking handle pulled up, dude. God damn.
They make a special tool that's exactly the same as like a hook on the end of a
Uh,
coat hanger for it. I bet it's
I
just
would
less
like.
flexible than the coat hanger,
Yeah, because
but it
that's what
looks the
happened. It would
same
get
as if you took
almost all
it.
the way
Yeah,
up, and then it would bend out of shape, dude. Because yeah, anything that was
yeah,
thick enough to not bend, I would have been hard. Because again, I pried the window out a little bit with a couple screwdrivers.
uh,
Easily got it down to it. Easily hooked onto it. Well, not easily, but I did it a bunch of times. Got it pulled up like 90% of the way, and then it would finally either bend or fucking slip off the fucking end. Oh god. And then yeah, I realized I'm like, dude, the handle's broke. Like that's got to be replaced anyway. I should have just busted the fucking handle and the housing off to begin with.
ha.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it still hasn't been replaced. I just put tape over it. But
So now your
yeah,
car just doesn't lock.
yeah, yeah. Well, no,
You
it
don't leave
locks.
anything valuable in it. There's not really anything to worry
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, well, it's a shitty looking truck. It's all fucking oxidized and old, and it's fucked up. So yeah, I don't have much fear of anybody trying to. Definitely not the vehicle itself. And then there's nothing
Oh
inside
yeah,
worth
no, I've
stealing.
driven cars like that where you're like, I could just leave this unlocked. No one is ever gonna come over here and fuck with it.
Yeah, yeah. Like the only thing they could possibly be interested in taking is maybe the fucking the leash thing that I have wrapped around the headrest for my puppy for my grandpuppy when I take him.
Yeah,
So like that could
and
be
that's
pretty
not
easily
really worth
taken.
breaking into a car for.
Yeah, I think it's like $12.
Oh, and
So
it's also
yeah,
one of those things that people wouldn't bother. That like if there's cigarettes or like coins in the middle of
yeah,
the cons, like a big fat stack of coins or something, maybe.
yeah, yeah. But no, I just literally just leave the window down because again, both handles are busted. Both fucking handles are not able to work on both
I
cars.
remember one of the nights I was dancing in San Francisco at the blues place. It was down like a little side alley. It was an old shop, old automotive shop that had been converted into a dance place. And so it was very small, and just down this creepy little alley in San Francisco, near all the gay bars. So I was out in front of it, like having a smoke, and then some dude just kind of walked in off the street, came down the alley, and he's like, "Hey man, can I bum a smoke?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I give the guy a cigarette. He's like, "Thanks, oh, you saved me, man. I was just gonna take a brick and start breaking windows till I found a car that had cigarettes in it." I'm just
Jesus
like,
fucking
Jesus
Christ, dude.
fucking Christ. Like, I'm glad I
Wow.
gave him a cigarette because my car is parked along that street he was walking
Mhm.
on, and it has cigarettes in it. A lot
Mhm.
of them.
I
Although
was gonna
not
say, yeah,
visible from the
here's a
street.
couple
You
more,
wouldn't
you
be able to
fucking
look through the window
psycho.
and see them because I'm on stupid, but craziness.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty fucking hard up for cigarettes, dude. I've never considered
Just walking
breaking
down the
fucking.
street, breaking window after window till you found them.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah. I
kind of
wouldn't
thing they
even.
want to encourage, though. They're encouraging in all these big cities, though. That kind of like
Yeah, this is
attitude.
true.
Granted, this is from like 10, 15 years ago, but
Yeah, before the troubles started,
so
where
that's a good
crime
way
was
of putting it.
allowed. Was not only allowed but actively encouraged. Like, hey, by the way, we're not going to prosecute anyone for under $1,500 of theft, but please don't do it.
So you know what
Yeah, we
that
don't want
means,
you to do
though?
that.
Is now people are basically put in a position where the only chance they have for justice is their own.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous.
It's a dangerous place to put
idea.
people in, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's my livelihood and this guy's running off with, my monthly paycheck because he doesn't want to pay for his liquor,
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel real bad about fucking beating him up with a bat or fucking shooting him or something.
You're like, yeah, I got a blind spot where then none of my cameras film, and I'll kill him right fucking there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm just saying there's people that are going to be like, well, I'm destroyed anyway. This is my business is gone, and just flip shit and start killing everybody that comes into their store to steal. For like a week or something.
Yeah.
Before they get caught, or a couple of hours or something. Who knows? I'm worried that we're gonna need to like fucking kill a lot of people at some point. Like this is really gonna have.
Yeah, did
not
you
us individually, and I'm not
story,
encouraging violence. I'm just saying, like, as a society, at some point, we're gonna have to like just fucking eliminate a lot of these people.
Yeah,
Well-
they're setting up the scenario. Did you see the one, the guy that on the subway or whatever, where the dude was like basically had him in a chokehold because he was like threatening to beat up an old lady or something?
Yeah, he was
And then it turned
constantly
out-
violent. He had like 44 felonies, and you're like,
Yeah.
the dude did
Yeah.
the choke wrong, and he ended up dying. Oh well, not really much of a
fuck that
loss.
Yeah.
I still
It's like, dude,
am
what the
100% on the other guy's side.
Yeah. The dude should not have been in a fucking, been doing the shit he was doing. And again, obviously, constantly, he had 44. Because, again, the whole no bail thing, because it's fucking racist or whatever. Yeah, you keep letting him fucking out time after time after time. Not much of a deterrent, and not much of encouraging to stop his fucked up behavior.
Well, that's the point. You see, that they want people to commit crimes because that's what they have. It's kind of like they're trying to give the impression. When I say they, I mean politicians. They're trying to give the impression that they're tough on crime. Like, for example, here in Canada, for gun crime, when you assault someone with a gun or a deadly weapon like that, the maximum penalty is 10 years in jail. Now, we've had an increase, a skyrocketing of gun crime all throughout Canada, and yet the maximum sentence has not been implemented. And in fact, people who have been arrested for attempted murder and stuff with a gun have been let out later on that day with bail. So it's like it sounds like we have this harsh penalty, but we're not actually implementing it. And because of all the backlash that's been going on, they decided to do a thing, and they extended penalties for gun crime, and they've extended it to 14 years. But then you didn't use the maximum 10 years prior. So what's the point? On top of all that, they're trying to implement this the new gun ban here in Canada, which is it's been going on for a long time, and now they're trying to extend it because they're trying to pass the thing where they make all these guns illegal in Canada, so that way you can't own them, and they've extended it to the point where
they make it so criminals can use guns to harm people, no problem, but nobody has the tools or equipment needed to defend themselves against the criminals.
Yeah, they're criminalizing the law-abiding citizens, because in Canada, and I imagine similar things in the States too, but I don't know to what extent, but here in Canada, every single gun crime that's been committed for the last, 10 years, has been committed by people who got the guns illegally, smuggled in through the border. The legal gun owners are not committing the crimes. And yet, once they implement this ban, it's only going to affect legal gun owners, not the criminals. Criminals still have guns. There's no, and on top of all that, you can commit a crime with these guns and not necessarily get punished. Get released later that day if you try to kill someone. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys see the video? I don't know if I ever posted it, but there was a video of, and I think this was from years ago, where a dude was crossing into Canada to go to a Katy Perry concert or some shit like that, and basically he had they saw that he had a concealed carry permit, and he did not have the gun with, but they were like grilling him about it and like giving him a fucking hard time about the fucking having concealed carry thing. Like, well, we see the permit, it makes us a little nervous, makes us a little suspicious. Like, no, I didn't bring it with me. I know better than to bring a gun across the border. But they like grilled him for like a good 10 minutes, like giving him shit about it. Yeah, it was fucking bizarre, dude. Yeah, and then basically, obviously nothing happened there. But then his wife had pepper spray, and that's illegal to bring across. And they're like, well, you can either not cross the border, or you can just surrender it to us. I'm like, yeah, take it. Fucking, can we go now? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta see if I can fucking find that. It's unreal, dude.
I remember
knowing that he has a concealed carry permit, you have to fucking make some kind of political fucking statement about it.
Well, like the various different governments are implementing all these things. It's all absolutely bizarre, and they gotta know that they're fighting a losing battle. Because let's say they do it and they make every single gun illegal. Well, guess what? They're just gonna smuggle it in. They're not gonna give up their guns. Why would they? On top of all that, now that people have access to 3D printing technology, they can 3D print a gun. It's actually not that hard. I mean, the files are out there. A lot of them are free, and even if they're not, like, you can pay money for them, and you can still get it. And it's like there's literally no stopping this. And the ability to 3D print something, like to actually make your own. People are actually finding ways to make their own 3D printers, not actually buy one, but make it from scratch. The technology is not that complicated, and yet, like, for some reason, they're like, oh yeah, we have to ban. Well, I'm sorry, but pretty soon we're at the point where you can't ban shit. So it's like, why are you even bothering with this bullshit? And obviously, it's all about control, because they want control.
Yeah.
And even if let's say they know that they can't control, they want to give the impression that they have this power, because they know that they only have the power that we give it. And if we don't see them as legitimate, we the people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Call yourselves whatever you want. We don't have to care about it.
Yep.
So I think various different people they're trying to hold on to the illusion that they have control. That's it. I think they're about to come to the idea that it's like, yeah, there's nothing we can do, because the people won't tolerate it. So
yeah, you hope we get there sooner rather than later, though.
Well, they're at the point, like, because here, like, I thoroughly believe that their power is about to go. They're about to be overwhelmed, and they're trying to hold on to it for as long as they can. So, for instance, I don't like when and if an election happens, I don't believe it's going to be legitimate. I think they're going to use everything in their power to steal any elections, and in particular, like,
oh yeah,
like, for here in Canada, like for you Americans, I'd say pay close attention to Canada, because right now, if shit hits the fan, which it sounds like shit's hitting the fan, and it's like a diarrhea. It's just coming out like crazy, and things are falling apart like crazy up here. If an election gets called, pay close attention to Canada, because if I know no one's talking about it, but if the Conservatives win up here, I think they're going to bring up the whole shit with the whole Dominion voting machines, and they're going to force them to release the ballots or the information that they have, because when you guys had the recount, it couldn't be finalized because the last thing you were missing was the voting machines.
Yeah,
and those are run by here in Canada, in Toronto in particular. If we get those, if we release that information, which you probably will at some point, then it'll show that the Biden administration is illegitimate, and and they may like sue on the legal front to stay in power till the end of his term. So you guys will still have that, and that's fine. They can do whatever the fuck they want in that regards. Keep it going.
Under that circumstance, if the Congress does not vote to impeach and remove the president, which would then leave the vice president, who's equally unlegitimate. It would be extremely bad news.
Well, they have the legal means to delay it so that he can live out the rest of his term. But
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying it would be a really bad look, and they would bleed people on their party.
Oh yeah. I mean, the party will be gone. Like, who knows what politics will look like after that?
Yeah, it'd be a long time before they win another election if they didn't just be like, "Oh, that's awful. Joe Biden did that. We had no idea. Yeah, we're gonna vote him out first, sure, and then his vice president will take over. That's just the rules, though, and it'll still be the same people in power."
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be shown that they are completely illegitimate. Like, and there again, what do you do? I don't know. I don't know if anything like this has ever happened before. I don't know American politics, but yeah, your guys' thing is like directly connected to ours because of the voting machine. So like, depending on how that would come out there, but what I'd be saying is like, the history books would have to write that Biden was not legitimately the president or something. I don't know. I'm curious how that would come out. It's like for 4 years, the usurper Biden or something. I don't know. I'm curious. These are historic times that we live in. I kind of wish that they weren't, but at the same time, I'm very fascinated. How is this going to come out? But yeah, Canada's directly connected, and there again, even if because there's two different types of elections going on here. There's the mayoral election for Toronto, along with the federal stuff with the Conservatives. And the reason why I bring that up is because there's a guy you may have heard on the internet. His name is Chris Sky. He was viewed as like the big gym rat kind of guy who had this huge conspiracy theories about the vaccine and all that other kind of stuff and COVID and whatever. And everything he said turned out to be true.
And so big surprise.
Big surprise. He was kicked off of every social media. He had was it Signal? I don't know what, or Telegram. It was a Telegram he had on there. We would communicate with people, and now he's back on Twitter, and now he's running for mayor of Toronto. So, like, even if things don't go as planned with like the federal government here in Canada, if Chris Sky ends up being mayor of Toronto, he might find a way to force the Dominion to release the information. So, there again, there's two things to pay attention to in Canada: the mayoral race in Toronto and the federal election, which could be called at any moment. Because once we get enough evidence about Trudeau's connection to China, hopefully the NDP, the Socialist Party here, will remove their support for Justin Trudeau and force an election. Then things will happen, and happen fast. Anyway, yeah.
Yep, we'll see. And only the future will tell the whole story. And in the end, there we'll have to see or ride it out and find out. Yeah, it kind of sucks. It'd be nice to know if it was going to go well or poorly in advance. Because that's
not looking good.
That's how you plan your own choice, like your own actions.
I think, like I said, I think there's two possibilities. If things go in one way, it'll be horrible. If things go another way, things will be great. And it's just a matter of making sure we're on the right path. I don't know what the future holds. A lot of it depends on the people's reaction. Like, are there enough people paying attention? And are they not? Like, I go on my social media, like on my Facebook, where I see all my local friends and all that kind of stuff, and I don't say anything political, but they openly talk about their politics. And it's like, you guys are clearly socialists. You clearly vote liberal. You're all about all that. I'm like, I don't know if there's any helping you guys. So we'll see.
Well, it is. I've heard it called the people that vote Democrat are generally very low information voters. As in, most of them have no idea what they're talking about, like no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just they hear like the buzzwords, like these are the good guys. They're trying to be inclusive and safe spaces, and they're trying to save the lives of the trannies and all that kind of shit. And it's like,
The
nah,
true
they're
believers.
making billions of dollars off of tricking young children into thinking that they're gender fluid and the surgery is perfectly safe and all these chemicals they want to jam in them are perfectly safe. And just you could just do whatever you want and there's no consequences, you know.
Yeah, you can switch back and forth as you
And
want.
they make billions of dollars off of that
Mutilate your
every
genitals,
year.
and they'll be totally back to normal if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking at so remember all the stuff we talked about when we were talking about like the vaccines, the downsides of it. They're now finally
Right.
starting to come to fruition. They're finding out that people who took them are now more susceptible to other flus
Well,
and all
and
that
I
kind
just
of stuff. The stuff that we'd said since the very beginning.
and
Yeah.
I just posted an article. I can't remember where it was. It's in the journal where the headline is saying like they knew, why didn't the unvaccinated do more to warn us? And now
Really, it's our fault you didn't do. You fuck off, assholes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
dude.
that's-
Holy fuck.
Fucking
See,
trying
that-
to take our fucking jobs away if we don't do what you tell us. Yeah, okay.
see,
Cock
it-
smoking
Yeah, because
motherfuckers.
you had to, right? You ended up having to get the
No, I didn't.
vaccine, right?
I'm a Buddhist.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you had said yeah.
I shaved my head and my beard for a couple of months.
really?
Nice.
Oh my! I didn't know that. See,
Okay. Yeah.
Oh wow, you committed to the bit.
No.
I fucking
Yeah,
did.
no, I
I
remember you
studied
talking about
Buddhism,
it, but I thought
motherfucker.
that-
I studied Buddhism hard for like a month.
Really?
I thought they had ended up. You ended up having to do it. So that. No,
Nope,
that's
I
awesome,
did.
dude.
I did
Okay.
have to take a bunch of tests over and over and over and over. Do those stupid little free tests. But
Oh,
then one
it's 'cause
day
you
I
actually
just stopped
had
doing
COVID
them, and they
at
never
once,
said
that's right.
anything. It's been months
Right.
since they've said anything about it. So nobody knows what's going on. Nobody's telling me to go do tests. I'm not going to do them anymore. I refuse.
Holy
Yeah.
shit! Oh wow.
We know it's not.
Understandable, dude.
Yeah, we know it's
should-
not an issue. It's not a danger.
Yeah, I wish I knew this a
Yeah.
while ago. God damn. I
Yeah.
didn't know you shaved your head and everything. Holy shit.
Well, I periodically shave my head anyway, just because it's cheaper than going to get a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
You
Same
know,
here.
it's just like let it get to about an inch long, and then I just shave it off again, and it's fine. But I actually kept it shaved for like a good couple of months.
God damn. I wish I knew this
Yeah,
earlier.
actually, I just grow mine out during the winter. Shave it. Starts getting hot. So I actually haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do that summer shave, the first summer shave right about now too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
Oh.
is it? It's you seem impressed by me shaving my head so much. For
No,
some reason.
I'm like I like to hear about what people have to go through because it's like this is
okay.
in order for me, because that's the interesting story. It's like this is what I had to do to make sure I still had a job. This is what I had to do to make sure my family didn't, disown me or something like that. Because it's something that you have to remember down the line. Because like years, when you're telling the story about COVID to like a coworker or to someone else, you have to express this is what I had to go through just to make sure I could still put food on my plate.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Yeah.
Left wing people are lunatics. Like you don't like. I live with left wing people. They're crazy.
Yeah.
They just change things around and ignore things that have happened and try to pretend that they're not the way they were.
Mhm.
Like for instance,
Yeah.
my cousin's kid is transgender, has done the full surgery and everything, and converted to male. But this is he did it way before it was this big thing going on. Way before any of this stuff even got close to started. And I remember at the time, a lot of the people in my family bitching about, oh, we can't do it until she's reached 18. She can't go and do any of the surgeries until after she's an adult, and she can't take all these chemicals, but she can like dress the part while she's still in high school.
Mhm.
And now they're telling me, well, you remember she did that in high school and it was perfectly safe. And I'm like, no, she fucking didn't. Like, that's not at all how it played out. It was, they had to wait until she was 18. And then part of it was because the doctor was saying, like, we can't do the surgery without, like, enough material. You have to fully develop before we can get in there and do any sort of alterations, or it's just not gonna, we won't have enough stuff to work with. We'll just, like, there won't be enough skin and tissue to do the job.
Mhm.
So, and it's like, and I remember this because it was like wow, I mean, it's awfully young to do that, but like, I'm just like a fucking kid at the time, so what do I know? But
Yeah.
and now they pretend that it's a whole different thing happened. That it's just like it's just in their heads. It's completely a different thing that happened, even
Yeah,
though that's not at all how it worked.
yeah, it's like they can't comprehend, or at least they don't want to deal with it because it's too
Yeah.
much to deal with. Which is a real thing because some people are just incapable. It's like it's too much to deal with, too much to hold on, too much guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the cognitive dissonance, dude, is pretty fascinating, man.
Yeah.
But
The
you
amount of
you have to
delusions
be
we can
like,
fucking.
it's like you're constantly being gaslit. By
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
who just decided
Yeah.
to alter the past in their own memory, and now you have to just put up with whatever bullshit lies they've made up in their head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's like they don't want to deal with the fact that maybe that, like, oh yeah, I guess we didn't treat people all that well. Because you also have to remember, like, there was all those articles going around saying like maybe there should be amnesty for people who behaved a certain way, like people who threatened to fire employees if they didn't get the shot and stuff like that.
No, there should be no amnesty. Fuck those people.
Well, you see, that's where that's
Yeah.
why these articles are coming out saying that. Well, should we blame the unvaccinated for not doing more? Because it's like some of these people, like,
Oh, that's
when-
not going to last,
That's
though.
fucking-
That's not
yeah.
going to work out well
That's
for
an
them.
absurd fucking. That's an absurd idea. Dude.
I can
That's
tell you right
fucking
now
absurd.
that the amount of people who are just going to fucking blow up and do insane shit, it's like that's not going to be something people want to start. Don't open that can of worms, man.
Yeah,
Well-
it's like, dude, I had access to the same fucking information you did, motherfucker. You chose to ignore it. You chose to fucking go along with what the fucking mainstream shit was selling you. Fuck you for being fucking stupid.
Yep.
Well,
see,
not
and
only
that-
did they try to make me get vaccinated, they tried to make me get vaccinated after I'd already had it and gained the natural immunity.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
that's
wanted
fucking
like
nuts,
double
man.
whammy me. You know what I mean? Like that would have fucked my natural immunity up and well as my immune system.
Yeah, and it wasn't that bad for you, right? Like it was pretty fucking mild, right?
First time I got it was 0 symptoms. Second time I got it was like barely having a cold. I was sick
Yeah.
for a day and a half with the sniffles. Like it wasn't even like a sore throat. It was just the sniffles for like a day and a half. It was really, that was all it was the second time. And I mean, I had the virus for like 2 weeks or some crazy like amount of time, just because that's it lingers in your system even after your immune system is overwhelming it. Or their tests are just really bad, which I think is also equally possible. But yeah, so I got like some time off from work. It was kind of nice. I was like, every time I went to get the test, I was always kind of like, maybe this time I get another vacation.
Right.
Use my sick time for vacation instead of like for sick time.
Yeah.
It'd be nice. Because in general, I'm almost never sick. So that was
Yeah,
one of the
me-
things
me
I had
too,
against
oddly
getting the
enough.
vaccine.
'Cause I do nothing to try to stay healthy, and I rarely get sick.
I never take the flu shot, and that's a big reason why I'm also as healthy as I am.
Yeah,
Probably.
I literally never taken a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or,
took.
well, I don't know. Maybe I did as a kid, but not.
I had
nothing
to
that
do it
I
as a
can-
kid. Like they made me do it when I was in like high school and junior high. And then,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
your
My parents made me.
mean, or was that?
My parents made me do
Okay,
it, and
got
then I did it for like one time when my dad was towards the end of his health, because it was like,
Yeah, you might end up getting him sick.
if I get him sick, it's gonna be
gotcha.
bad. And it's like, and I usually get sick for like once a year, if that.
Yeah, mine's about every year and a half.
Yeah,
so, like,
it's
it
not
might be
almost
a year,
every
it might
year
be
that I
2
get sick.
years.
Yeah, it's like almost every other year.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like I might get sick like twice in a 3-year period, something like that.
Yeah, the COVID was just a weird one for me, because it was
Yeah.
like within 9 months I think I got it again.
See, I haven't had the cold for about quite a while. Like maybe the first year when COVID started, I'd caught it, or just before. and that's because I was looking up on like immunities and sickness and that kind of stuff. Like, why don't we wear masks more often? That kind of thing. Because I remember when COVID was first starting to come over, I got super paranoid. I was like one of the first people out there who was like wearing masks and using like hand sanitizer everywhere and wiping down things. Like I went like a whole like was it hemophobic or whatever it is? Those people that are
Yeah.
afraid of germs. I went full
Well,
on there.
everybody
And
was just completely in the dark as to what was the best plan of
that
action
might
at
be
that
it.
point. So doing something
Yeah,
felt better than doing nothing.
yeah. So but I was like one of the first people because like when I first heard about the virus coming out of China, I thought, oh my god, this could be terrible. And everyone I talked to said, oh yeah, I'll never come, never come. And then I looked at the flight plans, and China at that time had an irregularly high amount of people leaving China. And I was looking at like how many of them were coming to Canada, and we had a higher than average people coming into Canada from China. I'm like, it's pretty likely this virus is going to hit us. And conspiracy theorists, conspiracy. You don't know what you're talking about. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's when I
Yeah.
I got paranoid and I started, wearing masks and all the other kind of stuff. But when I was doing that, I still got sick. And when I got sick, it was the common cold, that kind of thing. And I thought that was kind of weird because I thought like I'm going because at first I thought, well, was it gestating in my body for a while, and it wasn't really that because I was doing that for a while.
Well, were
But
you washing
I,
and sterilizing the mask after every use?
yep, yep,
Oh,
I had
you
different.
were? Okay, that's different
I,
because most people were just taking
oh,
a germ-soaked
what?
rag out of their pocket and putting it back on their face over and over.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
to say
Yeah.
that would
No,
But I
definitely help
never.
you get sick more likely than not. It just depends on if you have. So if you get a fresh, clean mask every time, that's kind of
see,
weird. Yeah.
yeah, because I was okay. So like when when I still got sick, and I thought, well, that's kind of weird, and that's when I looked up on the effectiveness of masks. Like, should I go out there and get one of those, what was it, N95s or one of those big respiratory kind of
Yeah.
masks? Should I go out there and get that, or should I do this? So I was looking up on that, and the masks really don't do anything to help. They don't really work
Even the
as well.
N95 masks, which are their holy grail, barely do a damn thing. It's like
Yeah,
0.1% or something.
but in most
Yeah. Dude,
and
I
like
always thought it was really bizarre that they never fucking reminded people to wash their fucking hands.
That was the thing that bothered me because I was like, if people would wash their hands and remember not to touch their face when they're out in public, that could stop
well,
the spread of so much right there.
well also
Yeah.
not many people know like the proper way to wash your hands because we just put a little soap on and then we do it. There's an actual method to it. And there was a guy who did a YouTube channel, and he was an older kind of guy, British sounding kind of voice or accent or whatever. But his job was that he trained nurses on how to operate in hospitals, and he showed people the proper way to wash your hands if you really want to, if you're really worried about germs and stuff. And so he did this kind of thing, and he had a channel. And when COVID had just started, he was talking about things and the importance of this and that. And he was talking about like what you were talking about there about the masks, but when to change them and stuff. And his channel exploded. He went from like a couple thousand to a couple million. He was on CNN. He was on everywhere. He was a big guy. It was huge. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. However, when he was going over like the numbers because COVID had spiked and then it was just starting to go down. And so he went over. So he started talking about that. It's like, yeah, we're probably going to be this in about a month or so. His channel was wiped, gone, erased. Can't be
Yep.
allowed to do anything else.
Hmm.
He was because he
Can't
was
say
the
that kind of disinformation.
oh
They
exactly
can't have the truth getting out, man.
and partially also because he's a guy with a lot of credibility. Like he knows what he's talking. He trains nurses on how to do it. But he went over all the information. So okay, so we can probably start easing up on this pretty soon. White nuked, get him gone. And that now he's back and everything. So like he's back on there. But yeah, he talked about how like clearly they wanted to control the narrative on this one.
Well, shit, we've gotten strikes on this or on your channel,
Multiple
from
strikes.
fucking recently, like not even
Yeah.
like it was fucking years ago.
For medical
Yeah, we keep getting
misinformation.
fucking strikes for medical information videos from like what, years ago, year and a half, 2.
Yeah, talking about the
We're
vaccine
getting
and stuff.
strikes now. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
as
mean,
little as 6
the
months
C-word.
ago. You know,
The thing now,
Yeah.
the thing now, I probably can't even talk about it, but there's a particular vitamin that's now been like banned recently because of articles coming out saying that it's. I can't even say it because I'm worried I'm going to get your channel in trouble. But
Wait,
essentially,
no. What vitamin? This is weird. I'm curious now.
so
What vitamin has been
Yeah,
banned?
how about
You don't. We're not saying anything good or bad about it. We just want to know which one's banned.
Yeah, help force us to go over to Rumble. Go ahead.
is that okay? All right, I'll just say it. So there's a couple of articles from various different medical journals and stuff that came out about a particular vitamin that actually does have principles that can be used as a treatment to prevent and also to help deal with things if you have cancer. This vitamin is called vitamin B17. When these articles came out, there out of nowhere, this vitamin, like the supplement and stuff, was banned from store shelves in America. You can't get it. It's also here in Canada too. Banned immediately. No one's talking about it, but it used to be.
Okay, wait a minute. Here's something that to me is bizarre about this, real quick.
Hmm?
Can't you just eat foods that have a lot of it in there?
Yes.
Like, what's the fucking point in banning the over-the-counter pills when you can just be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna eat a handful of blueberries then? Ooh,
Well,
like, I mean,
exactly. Well, you see, and not to mention, you can't if you ban these various different fruits from anywhere else, it could cause an international incident. So long as you don't, because if you use it as a treatment in concentration, like yes, you have to eat a fair bit to get the benefits. So that there is that drawback. Like if you already have cancer, you might have a hard time eating in general. So can you really eat all these apricots? Can you really eat all those peaches?
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
That's a bit hard. But if you were to take a supplement,
if my life is on the line, yeah, I could choke down some fucking gallon of peaches every day.
So like exactly, but like the concentration, like the actual supplement, you only need like one or two. Like if you take it, you prevent yourself from getting it. And if you have cancer, if you take this, it actually has positive effects. Vitamin B17.
Keep in mind, you can always cook the water out of anything and concentrate it down, and then smoothieify it to make it, palatable and much more easy to. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways around just taking the pill that aren't that bad.
Yeah. Now, so I looked up on the whole vitamin B17. So there was a guy who was talking about the vitamin back in back in the 90s. He was sentenced to a life sentence, even though he committed no crime. He just talked about the vitamin seems to have some good things that could actually help prevent and treat cancer. Jail, lifetime sentence, just for making that comment, just for putting that out there on the internet. And this was back in the early 90s. I didn't know that. But yeah, if you look at vitamin B17, you'll see articles saying how dangerous it is. You can't have it. And that's why they say this is why we banned it. You can still get it, though, from very similar fruits. So eat apricots and peaches.
You can get it from apricots kernels.
Yeah. The seeds are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I think it's I think it's a lot of obviously Big Pharma has a huge influence, and it's like Chris Rock said, like Jesus, probably 20 years ago in a stand-up. He's like,
and they sell it as an herbal rub.
Yeah, well, no, he was basically just making the point of, yeah, they haven't cured anything in a long fucking time. There's not a lot of money in the cure. What they'll do is they'll find a way for you with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what's happened with like AIDS. Like, you know what I mean? They didn't cure AIDS. They just found a way that you can fucking have to constantly take medication to stave it off.
Yep. And there's various different treatments for AIDS. I was surprised to find out that there actually are natural treatments for AIDS, funnily enough. I didn't look heavily into it, but apparently you can recover from it. And I thought they were always saying that it's a life sentence or whatever, like you could die at any moment. And you find out that actually it's recoverable.
Like you can actually have it, like you can actually not have AIDS.
Yeah, no, it'll naturally leave your body. You could be AIDS free. Yeah, apparently it doesn't.
Never heard that.
No one ever has. But apparently you can do it. Now I didn't look heavily into it, but yeah, AIDS is actually it goes away. Your body can recover from it. Oddly enough, I didn't know that. Right. So there again,
who told you this, Smaj? Was it the lizard people?
Yes,
the lizard people that told you
that? I'm in cahoots with lizard people. See, now that statement alone, that'll get your channel banned. But But you have to remember, like back in the day when AIDS was a thing, Dr. Fauci, who was in charge back then too, was trying to get a whole vaccine thing going. There was a huge scare going on with AIDS. It's a big epidemic. You got to do something about it. And he actually had like a planned AIDS vaccine that he was going to roll, that they wanted to roll up into people. Now, obviously, the hysteria on that died down. It's like, and it didn't work. People didn't get all vaccinated for AIDS, but he tried that once before. If you look back in the AIDS thing with Dr. Fauci, it's like,
back before he became evil.
Back before that. But yeah, people just sort of it stopped being a big thing, and I imagine with COVID it'll be the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, remember it was such a big thing? And it's not. It's recoverable. Oddly enough, apparently so is AIDS. Go figure.
Yeah, now it's just a chronic condition that you can manage with some drug that had existed already. It was for like malaria or something. I forget what the fucking drug is.
I wouldn't be surprised,
but it was something that it was already existed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was ivermectin. You can probably take an ivermectin treatment and get cured of AIDS.
Yeah, really? That'd be funny. That's why they were so like, ivermectin is horse powder.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to take horse powder, do you?
Well, man. I look at Martin Shkreli. He's the one that bought it and kicked the price way up, right? He bought the patent to the medication.
I don't know. I have no
like
idea.
500 times.
I didn't even know that had happened. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. Martin Shkreli, he bought. I'm pretty sure it was AIDS. Maybe not. I don't have great memory, but he definitely bought some medication that was basically like something that was helping keep people alive, and jacked the price up to a ridiculous amount, like 1,000 times more than it was.
Oh yeah. Oh, that wasn't ivermectin. That was the. It was like a treatment for like fucking something else, like
I thought it was like malaria or something like that.
Tuberculosis pill. Because tuberculosis is still pretty rampant throughout the world, like just not in the first world.
Right.
But it's still, and he took like something I think that people needed for tuberculosis or something and made it really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then that's only because the U.S. is, I think, the only country that doesn't curtail that bullshit. Because only in the U.S. can a company take money from us, the taxpayer, and then make like 5,000% profit off of the pill they develop from that. You know, like, it's ridiculous.
Wow. All right. I just learned a new word looking this up. Medications. There's antiretrovirals.
Antiretrovirals? Oh, that's for like people that have, what do you call it? Transplants, right? It keeps their immune system from attacking the transplant?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yeah. Or like my grandfather had like a pacemaker, and he had to take like Coumadin or something like that.
Yeah, there's like medication you got to take if you get like somebody's heart put in your body, or you get like a new liver or something.
Heart. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean just regular organ transplants too, not like the artificial ones.
Yeah, no, I'm saying both.
Both,
yeah, to prevent your body from attacking and killing it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
Because the organ is those aren't your cells. So even if it's the same blood type or whatever, your body's gonna try to fight that liver and get rid of it, even though it's like keeping you alive. It's weird. Yeah.
It doesn't recognize it as your thing, so it's a foreign body that it try to expel.
Yep.
That's why I'm real curious. I know, right? That's why I'm real curious to see about like the cloning of body parts. You guys hear about those?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea, because if you could get a fresh, healthy liver when you needed one that was from your own cells, your body wouldn't reject it. It would just be like, all right, we got a fresh, healthy liver. Right on, let's go.
Exactly. It's like you just have to wait maybe a week or so until it develops, or however long it takes to develop.
Yeah, I mean, it could be weeks, it could be months. It's still, better than getting it from somebody else.
And see, that's... Yeah?
That would be such an insanely life-extending thing that they could do. Because I mean, just from like heart failure alone, like if they know you're rife, you're gonna have a heart failure issue soon. They're like, we know this is coming. They could just be like, we're just gonna fucking clone one and have it on hand at the emergency room for whenever you want to get that done. You know?
Yep. Just go off and do it. No need for donors. Just clone it, and there you go. Fresh heart, and your body won't reject it because it actually is your heart. And it's like, yeah, or your heart or liver or whatever else. Like, pick any body part, you're good to go.
Maybe they could double my penis.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Just go in there and be like, just stretch the skin and put another extra helping a penis in there for me, please. You know?
Yeah.
Somebody had told me that like a cock bigger by like constantly sticking it in a fucking vacuum.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, the penis extenders.
Are you talking about the ones
apparently.
where it's like the penis pumps?
No, this is again probably a bullshit story, almost certainly. But this dude was telling me that that some guy had literally just constantly used a
vacuum pump to make your so that's like penis pump. That's what that's called. It's like a pretty standard thing they tell people. The reality is you can use a penis pump to increase like erectile function. So like you would use it a couple times a day just to get the cells more used to being open and full of blood. So that when the next chance you are, have a chance to be intimate with some lady or whatever, it would be easier for you to get an erection and maintain that erection.
Right.
It's not going to change the size of your penis though, but a lot of people seem to think it would.
Yeah.
And I think that comes because if you apply too much vacuum or you do it too long, it can cause like stretch marks, like it can stretch the skin of your penis out and cause stretch marks and stuff. So you might think you're getting a bigger penis, but in reality you're just kind of fucking your skin up a little.
I think that's what they had told me. I think you said.
Yeah, a lot of people think it can make it bigger too, but it doesn't. It's not. It's just, it's most likely they already suffer from like not getting it up as much as they can. So when they start using it, it's a harder and firmer erection, so it's bigger than normal for them, but it's not actually bigger than their penis was. They're just more functional. So it's getting like they're getting that extra half inch because they're even extra hard that they would normally not get or something like that. But it's not actually increasing the size of anything.
I think she had told him that it was like weird looking, like it was just constantly all red and creepy looking.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what it would look like if you did it on a regular basis. Yeah, I have no idea if that would make your dick look funky or what, but yeah. I just know the general consensus.
What I do know, like I remember hearing about like how guys in their 30s are now having like erectile dysfunction, and part of it was due to the fact that like because it doesn't quite work as they thought it would, and this isn't something that's supposed to happen in your 30s. And part of the reason for that is because of the large consumption of porn. So like a lot of guys are watching more porn now than ever. And they're jerking it.
Oh yeah, if you're looking at some weird, fucked up shit to get off, and then you're just like with some regular girl doing some vanilla sex, I'm sure that's a weird situation for you.
No. What I'm saying is like if your body gets used,
I can't fuck your mouth.
Exactly. If your body gets used to not having a partner and just doing it yourself, when you are in that situation, it doesn't know what to do. It can't really function because this isn't normal. The normal behavior is when you're doing that. So they're saying like for a lot of guys like you need to stop watching porn and stop jerking off. And I'm not saying like
or watch porn if you're wanting to actually get laid as well. I guess.
Well, no, that won't do any good.
There's there's also a lot of people who have a problem with sensitivity as well from like the constant overstimulation.
Yes, there is that too, but also because you get into a routine. And what was the routine? Most guys will just lie in bed, bring up their phone, jerk off porn. if you're with a partner, that's which is normal behavior, but that's abnormal because you trained your body to prefer things this other way, and it's not normal.
Yeah.
Not to mention, not
Well,
like if you're,
some of these motherfuckers, like I'm in a couple of different servers where people trade porn. Some of these motherfuckers, they'll masturbate 7-8 times a fucking day.
Mhm.
It's like, dude, that's insane. That's really that's way too much, man.
Yeah.
Your body was not meant to process that amount of endorphins every fucking day, you psycho. Like, put your dick away for 5 minutes.
I was gonna say, yeah, like I could probably physically do that still, even at my age, but yeah, I have no desire to fucking jerk off that much.
Yeah, and when you're young,
I mean, that commitment for time.
But you also have to remember, a lot of these guys, like, because earlier we were talking about how, like, if you're a 5, you should be dating 5s. If you're a 3, go for 3. Date within your age range, or not age range, but your target demographic.
Your age range too.
Your age range too.
Yeah, your age range.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. Obviously, you should be when you're age. What I'm saying is that with porn, you have access, and then not actual physical access, but you're witnessing very beautiful women, okay, and doing all kinds of crazy, bizarre shit that an average woman probably won't do. And let's be honest here, a lot of us aren't going to get that supermodel kind of stuff. But you watch porn, it's all fucking gorgeous women.
I don't find a lot of women in porn that attractive. If I'm being real honest here, I'm sorry. A lot of them look fucking mutant-like to me.
Well, it depends on what you're looking up. I don't know.
Like there's some of these women that just look like fucking cartoons. Yeah. It's like, it's gross.
Well, I don't know. It's the internet, so for all I know, they are cartoons. But
really. Well, sure.
Not natural. Yeah, it's not generally natural if they're fucking have crazy ass curves and shit.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys, their expectations of what they need visually isn't what they're gonna get, and so they're not all that attractive. But also, it's because like the routine is different. So, and then that's why you look at a lot of these guys who are like in their 30s with erectile dysfunction. You've trained your body to only function a certain way with a certain type of woman that you're never gonna get. And so, like for a lot of guys, which is part of the reason why the birth rates are going down so much. So, realistically,
the readily availability of the shit too is it's kind of ongoing, and it sounds like that's probably what's going on. Yeah. Is the people that have been able to have easy access to porn since they were a teenager.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, you really had to work to get to porn.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I can just pull out my fucking, this little phone thing and
just pop up as many pictures of boobies as I want. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was like sneaking and stealing the Fredericks of Hollywood magazine or the Victoria's Secret magazine or something,
Yeah.
Jerking to the lingerie ads in the fucking paper.
Dude, this is how far I would go, dude. We had a satellite dish, like back in the day, the big-ass satellite dishes, right?
Yeah.
The porn sites were obviously all, like, paywalled or whatever. But you could move the satellite in between. It would be like a fucking... You could see the image barely. Like, you could get it... If you got it in just the right spot, you could kind of see what was happening. Like, I would do that to try to fucking...
oh, yeah. Trying to see through the popcorn, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be all distorted, but you could definitely fucking... It worked well enough.
I got lucky. I knew a kid whose dad was like a single father sheriff. So he had stacks and stacks and stacks of dirty mags in his fucking room. Yeah. And this kid would steal and sell them to you for like $5 a pop.
Yeah, and the dad's not missing it because it's a huge fucking...
massive fucking piles of it. Yeah, he had like hundreds of these fucking dirty magazines. So like I was looking at stuff from like the fucking 70s and shit. Like just dirty fucking magazines from the 70s, like Playboy and stuff. So it was pretty fucking mild compared to what you see now.
So like the joke in that Adam Sandler movie, did the have sideburns?
Did the pussies have sideburns? Yes, they did. You'd be surprised.
Pretty much. Yeah,
there was a lot of fucking pussy hair. Yeah.
Things had to be less extreme back then because it was so hard to get. You see where I'm getting at? But nowadays, for women, they need to get stuff that's extreme. just to get a reaction out of the guys.
Yeah.
So like,
to get noticed. Yeah.
so like for myself, like when I realize that this could very well be because I look at my own habits, I make sure not to do it. Like I go, my thing is like if I am going to do that stuff, it's a weekend activity. Don't do it. Try not to think about it. Try to get on with stuff, and then see what the difference is. And let me tell you, I function way better if I don't do it every day. It's like
nobody should be jerking off every day. That's a lot.
Exactly.
Except for like a 13-year-old or whatever. That's just fucking growing up. But
when you got the super hormones going on, dude. But yeah, I'll do it maybe twice a week, maybe 3.
I limit it to just once a week. That's it because just because I worry because the last time I did have sex it was not good and I can tell you a lot of the problems were on my end and so I changed the things, and that's because
when you look up. Sorry.
Fucking pick the lock.
Yeah, I was concerned.
I never should have showed her that lock picking lawyer channel.
I was concerned, but now I'm hoping your channel gets taken down. Fuck you.
It was just such a wide opening for that. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, you did. Come on. I know.
Oh, that was terrible. Really I feel bad. That was such a lazy joke, but it was just like softball pitch.
Man,
at least I did a callback to what we were talking about earlier, you lazy bum.
Exactly. I don't know.
I've learned that I need to jerk off less. 2 out of every 3 days is not. It's too much, I think.
Yeah, and
maybe twice a week isn't so bad.
It was
like a week and a half, 2 weeks sometimes, but
it was only 11 years. It was only 11 years. You have a little sympathy for me. Yeah, fuck you. Anyway. But there again, that's also part of the problem. A lot of guys don't have any ambition to go out and get relationships. It used to be like if porn was hard to get, if you wanted to, you had to get a relationship. There again is another problem. Yeah. So like I'm rapidly of the opinion that it's like we need to ban this shit. There shouldn't be any porn. It's like guys need to go out there. You need to start relationships.
And, good luck, dude. I think you'd be better off getting guns out of America than porn, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I'm not even saying like from whether you could get it like banned or not, or whether it should or shouldn't be banned. I'm just saying I don't think that would be possible.
No.
It's so pervasive at this point. Like I cannot imagine porn ever going away. I mean, maybe, but I can't.
Yeah, well, dude, think of how fucking difficult it is to get illegal porn out, like child porn and shit.
Yeah,
like that exists. It fucking. You know what I mean?
That exists, and the thing that gets me is that it exists, right? Like, people know when it's illegal to fuck kids, right? Like, it's really illegal, and people want to fucking brutally, like, torture and murder you when you do it, and they film themselves.
I just think that it should be harder to get. It's too easy, is what I'm getting at.
I'm not arguing that. I can totally see where you're coming from. Yeah, I'm just saying I can't imagine how you would do it, though.
Right. Well, I mean, there are ways to do it, like to make it less easy. Like, for example, Elon Musk was talking about this as well, saying pretty much the same thing I'm saying right now. His thing is like because he wants to move forward with this, he wants to essentially ban all porn off of Twitter, and he.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he's talking about going ahead with that. Now, granted, that's a lot harder to do because Tumblr did that, and look what happened to Tumblr. It's a dead platform. It went from like a $10 billion platform to going on sale for $10 million.
Mm-hmm. That's why I laughed.
He would be better served, I think, putting it behind like walls that make it really hard for like anybody who's not an adult to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
you'd have to literally pay to fucking
see it. But I mean, that's like a starting point.
Maybe.
I think you have to start there. I don't think you can go straight to banning porn. If you slowly remove it so that it's like the shit they pull on us, the simmering the lobster in the water and it doesn't realize it's creeping up. You'd have to slowly make it harder and harder to get porn onto Twitter until eventually you just like get it out of there.
Well, and
you can't do it all at once.
Boiling the frog, you goddamn you.
Oh, frog, whatever.
Not
Yeah.
a lobster, you maniac. Although it does apply. So, whatever.
It could be that maybe the method that they need to do is to adopt a method similar to like an OnlyFans. Maybe you have to pay to use it. Put it through
Oh,
like you
like
said,
Twitter?
like, yeah, make Twitter a lot more like an OnlyFans thing if you want to get that content.
Oh, you gotta pay an extra fee to see the naked people.
Yeah, similar
So
to
that
like
it funds itself. The keeping it separate from the rest of the platform is self-funding. That's not a bad idea.
like for instance, like the regular Twitter would be like kind of like an Instagram. You post like lewds and stuff like that. You want to see the actual goods, you got to pay for it, which could be another revenue generating system for Twitter. Could work.
Nice.
And like that could also help out artists as well, because there's a lot of artists on there who draw like night nudes and lewds and that kind of stuff. It's like, and they get nothing for that. They're just putting it out there for free.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if in order to use the platform, you actually do have to force them to or actually charge people. It's like, well, it's essentially forcing you to make money. It's like, oh, well, if I have to make money, I guess.
Yeah.
Because right now, for a lot of artists on Twitter, they just sort of post that stuff just to get views. They're not making any money. It's not on their Patreon. They just want to get views to make sure that people are, paying attention to their content. It's like, well, in order to see that, you got to pay me for it. It's like, and then the artists have the excuse, because a lot of people are like, well, this used to be for free. It's like, what do you expect me to do? It's the terms and services of Twitter. I have to charge you money. I guess I just have to make money. Which I don't know. That's a great excuse. It's just shrug your shoulders like, I'm not greedy or nothing. It's just I have to. Twitter's making me make money. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, gotta feed myself.
Well, it's like Twitter says I have to feed myself. I have to. That way I don't have to take in a responsibility of saying it's like I don't know. I like that.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't charge you, but Twitter.
Twitter, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Here we go, making money. And that could be another benefit for getting that blue check mark, maybe 18 plus content.
Everybody needs that blue check mark.
It's like, I'm sorry, you want to see your favorite e-thought on the platform? I mean, you're just gonna have to pay. I'm sorry. But what's that? Your VTuber's got some amazing nude models. Man.
I still remember when I ran into the chicken in VR chat, and when I learned that people will pay for ERP sessions with people, where it's like they fuck via VR. It's not like real in life sex. And it's just like that just blew my mind then, and just like so much other shit now. I'm waiting for because there's all those groups of people that make VR porn, VR hentai, animated porn. Like it's slowly spreading through all the genres. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like VR furry porn and stuff like that.
Already is.
But I'm waiting for them because they all make digital models, right?
Yep.
Well, how many people have those fucking AI girlfriends on their phone? Like, how long before that becomes like a big thing where people are like, well, for $20 we'll make a scene where you fuck your AI girlfriend VR in like a virtual reality thing. Like, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, inevitable though.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
just a weird fucking
dudes, where even the AI fucking girlfriends are breaking up with them.
Yep.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
The AI girlfriends are breaking up with them? That's fun. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, honestly, I did not catch the specifics, so if any of you know, that's great. But yeah, they're literally like, yeah, you're it's too much. I'm breaking up with you.
I know they briefly disabled the adult feature. Like, they briefly disabled the adult content feature, and everybody went ape shit. Because people were like, that's what you sold it with.
Right.
Because I remember seeing the commercials and going like, yeah, this is just some weird, shitty, creepy porn shit, AI girlfriend thing, because it was always very sexual. And so I'm like, well, if that's what you sold it with, and then you just take that part away, of course people are going to be mad. That's, obviously. So that came back really fast.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the lady that did it, though, thought she was genuinely going to, like, help
people?
make men better or more capable of dating real women or something, and it's like, I don't think you understand how that works.
Right.
Well,
Like, you're just
definitely don't
providing an
understand how
option.
men
You're not
work.
you're
Yeah.
not like helping anything. You're the
Yeah, I
problem,
think
lady.
that's the issue. Is it's a woman that obviously does not understand men.
Yeah.
well, if it's a robot, yeah. There's a VTuber out there called Pipkin Pippa, and she had this thing. She's been doing a series of videos, messing around with AI, and she did this one where she was talking with an AI therapist, and she had to laugh because apparently the AI therapist recommended that she kill herself.
Oh my god. when, when the AI therapist is like, yeah, you know what? You really are kind of fucking. Yeah, you should just die.
That's exactly what she said, and the therapist said, "Well, I wouldn't quite say it like that." I just thought it was
God
hilarious.
damn.
That was fucking brutal. But Pipkin is a bit of a troll, so like she knew what she was in for.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
On that note, we should call it. That's our normal our time.
Before we call it, I have one last thing about AI I want to talk about real quick, and then we'll be done.
All right. There we go.
Apparently, you have to watch out for this because I mentioned before that various different scammers are going to start using AI to do things. Now you know those emails that you get of some from like a loved one or whatever, and they're saying like I have been kidnapped and all that. Can you please wiretap this so they can set me free? That kind of thing. So what's happening is that AI is using audio samples of your loved ones, like from let's say this stream right here, where they would take our voices and it would recreate like a hostage situation where your loved one would call you up, like let's say you had like a daughter or whatever, and she'd be like, Dad, help me, they have me, and it sounds just like your daughter. And if they had something, and then some strange man will come up and say, if you don't fucking send me this money, I'm gonna blow your daughter's brains out right here, right now. And you might get scared and all that, but they're using it to accurately recreate your loved one's voice. Now that's fucking frightening.
So that's disturbing.
Dude, that reminded me. I was gonna kind of this earlier, but like I was watching this thing where they were talking about scammers that pretend to be like fucking some dude or whatever. There was one where the guy was actually pretending to be Darius Rucker, and this fucking old bitch was believing it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, yeah, with that same technology. She's like, no, he'll never call me or anything, and then like you could easily fake that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Also, I was thinking there's a real quick. I feel like there's a connection, almost like OnlyFans. The parasocial relationships is kind of the same as that scam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's not really all that different than people pretending, in Nigeria, pretending to be your boyfriend and get money and gift cards out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it preys on men's innate need to provide.
Yeah, it's essentially a scam. Pretty much the same scam.
Yeah, it's convincing men that it's satisfying that urge to be a provider, even though they're really not. You know what I mean? Like it's not beneficial to them in any way, but they're getting the same endorphin release that's beneficial to their feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them they get off. They feel really good about like, oh well, she's spending my money on her rent or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a taken care of thing. It's kind of creepy.
Absolutely. Well, that's what they're doing, and so that's the future of AI scamming and stuff. So I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention because, it could happen.
If they call me up and they're like, "You're gonna wire like 500,000, we're gonna kill somebody," I'm like, "I don't have any money. I could wire you 5 cents, maybe."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's bizarre that they constantly, because the one I was talking about, that bitch was constantly sending him money, and like, no, I'm getting divorced and I can't because contracts, I can't do this and that. I don't have access to my money, and it was just like, dude, how do you fall for something like that, dude? Ugh.
You like the attention, man. Some people just they need that fucking endorphin buzz.
It'll happen. Yeah.
Codependence, probably.
Yeah, we gotta get going. So, rabble.
Alrighty.
Again.